Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. You're a great host.
That's how I get them to be quiet. I pretend like we're live. Right. Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise. So we're going to jump into our recap and session. So, last we met, the Wayward Five delved into the depths of the old Oasis Temple in the Fields of Glass. Here, they found a new friend in Sarathil, a reborn Gwyn elf made immortal by the magic of Iluvania, in exchange for his duty to watch over this temple and await a champion much like our heroes. Together, they prepared to fight the Harvester of Ashk, for the party had found that the creature that had been influencing these fields of glass was bound underneath this temple, a servant of Carcery with an essence of the chained god Ashk within. But before we entered this fight, we saw a brief flashback to Sarathil's last journey before his millennia-long slumber in these crypts. We saw billowing clouds of smoke consuming the blue sky of Aradun, of Gwenvalier, roughly 1,000 years ago. The lay sanctum at the megacity known as Ultimastra had erupted and was darkening the atmosphere, leading to unnatural darkness even deeper than the long dark, and black, sickly rains that covered all of the lands. Sarathil and his companions traveled through the fields of glass, suffering from magic sickness held within these raindrops that poured down upon them, a certain radiation that was emanating into the lands. Sarathil's companions questioned their mission and pondered if they should just go home and spend what time they had left with their loved ones during this near apocalypse. But Sarathil reminded them of their oaths. They pressed onward and found the Oasis Temple. Upon arriving, they immediately tried to help the sick residents who were suffering from similar sicknesses, similar radiation poisonings. The head of this grove, an old, withered tabaxi, who still stood taller than them, but crooked on his staff, scolded them for coming from the Gwyn Empire, blaming them for this sickness, and questioning their motives coming here. They did what they could, left what they could with these survivors, and moved onward into the temple. At this point, it was just Sarathil and his two companions, a set of twins, students of his, Artessa and Arniel. Before entering into the crypt, Sarathil coughed and noticed his sickness was advancing as he found blood on his palm, which really was their last hope. They all accepted their fate and entered the temple. They fought many undead creatures guarding the space and other entities. And as they succeeded, Artessa, or Arniel, had suffered severe wounds and was about to pass. Sarathil allowed Artessa to stay behind with her brother as he slowly faded, with the promise of raising him into undeath. He looked back and saw them holding each other before he proceeded onward into the main temple chamber, the same chamber our heroes are in now. It was here he saw the orb before him that held the Harvester as well as the shard of Iluvania. The glass peeled away to reveal a silhouette of Iluvania, or Eladra, but as a Gwyn elf, a memory of Iluvania. And as light consumed his vision, we found ourselves cut back to the battle ahead. As it was almost like an instant that Sarathil saw that flash of light and now found himself in this fight, awakened beside these brave heroes. Fierce battle unfolded back and forth between the Harvester and our heroes, matching each other each step of the way. But in the final moments, our heroes succeeded in restraining the Harvester, and Ceuran, brandishing the pallid mask he's held for the last few months, beseeched Ashk to enter a bargain. The temptation was too great for the trickster god, as he agreed, taking control of the Harvester, turning it to sand as his withered old orcish form appeared. They passed back and forth quips and arguments about the gods, about the heroes, and about the world they lived in. But ultimately, he agreed to help them and undergo a willing geas from Ceuran. Though ever the trickster and not without mocking as he submitted to our heroes. He was bound to the chosen of Ilyvania. And Ceuran acquired the second shard of Ilyvania. During this, Timber attempted to extract some blood samples from Ashk. And in the process, Ashk seemed to enter Timber's mind and see some of his memories. As Timber asked him to stop, the trickster god admitted that he had no control over it. It seems, even though you have bound a trickster god, you have bound a form of him that has less control, as it is only a small portion of the complete god still chained somewhere out there beyond the planes of existence. And you should be careful around a trickster god. As the party recovered, Sarathil had taken a moment alone as he stepped out into the antechamber where we had seen all the corpses of those who've tried to enter this space. There he found, still holding each other, the withered bones of Artessa and Arniel. He apologized for not being able to come back for them, but assured them that their mission had been a success and he had found a way to immortality. But that his work was not done, and he rose their bones, as they all promised to one another, this group of Gwyn companions. And that is where we left off. So, Wayward 5. You have Ashk here. He has just undergone the geas and is bound to Ceuran for, specifically to not lie to you, to help you as if he's a part of the party, and to, serve as a member of our party, and you will not lie to us or betray us or withhold anything from us, were the exact words of the geas. Important to know your exact words when dealing with a trickster god.
Of course.
With that excellent late addition from Wiswick of do not withhold from us.
Yes.
Sarathil, you've just risen the undead forms of Artessa and Arniel. What would you all like to do at this point?
If I may, first, you said Ashk is just wearing a loincloth?
Yes, you would actually, currently he is just in this sort of destitute orcish form.
Okay.
That only has what appears to be some kind of loincloth.
Is there like a cloak nearby?
You could take a cloak off of the many dead bodies in the room.
Are there any lengths of chain around here?
Give me an investigation check.
Six.
Yeah, you're like kind of like flipping through like a bunch of like old skeletal remains and looking through all the clothes, and there doesn't seem to be any chains. There's just a lot of like old clothing. You might find very small amounts of chains, like around like old holy symbols of other adventurers, but nothing substantial.
Like, nice big chains.
Not right now.
All right. Ceuran's going to throw the cloak at Ashk and say, "Cover yourself and get ready. We still have much to get done here." but quickly. Turning to the rest of the party that's here, Ceuran's going to point back at the red crystals and goes, "Now, I know we've dealt with these before, and I had an idea that I wanted to run by you two first. So these are connected to the temporal plane, correct?"
Temporal spatial.
Don't look at me.
I don't know.
Wiswick would be able to confirm that.
Yeah, sure. That sounds plausible.
But they don't take us to that plane, right? They're just of it.
Right.
So remember when we had the heart that was cursed, that led to Carcery, and then you hit it with the tuning fork, and we were able to draw power from it, and basically we now have a tuning fork that can get us to Carcery.
Okay.
Are you following with what I'm saying? Now, what if we took a tuning fork and hit it against these crystals? Do you think that would give us a tuning fork that allows us to travel to the plane of space and time? And it had a name, Sean, and I was
Ether.
looking for
Aether.
the ether. Okay.
Aether.
Wouldn't
Yes.
that just send the tuning fork through?
Well, if you're holding it, I'd assume we would go with the tuning fork. But then, it's potential that the tuning fork would gain the properties of these crystals, and or maybe we just get it close enough.
Okay,
and
well,
it
don't
absorbs the
use
power.
that one because I blocked it.
Well, when I think
Right.
about it, I believe that I've tried something similar to this in the past. I've accidentally used one of these teleportation crystals while having the teleportation or the transfer socks in my possession, and I didn't create a wormhole that destroyed the world. So I don't see a harm in trying this out, besides the fact that we might just open up another hole into Carcery. I mean, now that the tuning fork has gained some more Carcery magic within it, it seems less broken and might not act the way it used to when it is infused with magics of another power, but I'm always up for experimenting.
I was going to just suggest a different tuning fork so that we have one for Carcery and one for the Aether.
Wiswick starts scurrying through his bag, and he's like, "Did I lose one of those somewhere?"
Huron, you kind of see out of the corner of your eye, kind of stepping, slouching into the circle you're talking in is Ashk. And now you notice the cloak that you put on him is, it was dusty and gross and had dried blood all over it. It is now gorgeous and renewed and has excellent, beautiful filigree. He's no longer slouched over. He is standing tall. His hair is no longer dry and white, but now is a very deep black, and is kind of filled in, so it's not receded so far. And he has his beard is no longer kind of unkept; it is perfectly cut at the jawline, and it's still long, but it's perfectly trimmed. He is no longer feels a need to guise himself as weak for pity. And he comes forward, kind of clasping at this cloak, because it's still not like a perfect robe or anything. It's still a cloak. Might I interject here? As you speak about planes of existence.
You already did, so go ahead.
Well, now that I am bound to you, champions, I thought you'd only polite. You wish to infuse a tuning fork with the ether. Do you have the right type of metals, the right structure?
I wasn't aware they needed specifications.
I saw a little bit of the process when identifying the tuning fork in the past. They used one of those pots, one of those indestructible vials that you got as a sort of mold in creating it, and then I believe that a pact with the wayward one was involved as well.
Yes, the Wayward One's tuning forks were specially made. One to just go to the ether is less sophisticated.
Well,
His tuning forks were intentionally there to bind warlocks to him. That tuning fork would compete too much with the ether if you were to try to use it to take that energy.
So might you know what kind of tuning fork we would need to contain the ether?
Well, I do believe that you would need something from a master smith of sorts, who can work with enchanted metals. I create some might say a 250 gold piece worth fork, infused with certain metals that are conductive to the energies of the ether.
I see. So, not something we can deal with right now. Understood.
But you know where they are, and I do believe your hypothesis is worth it, Ceuran.
I could see this coming together. Maybe I can reach out to some of my dwarven friends and we could see what they have to say about the whole thing.
Yes, more information is always helpful, especially when you're fact-checking the god of trickery. Is there a Wikipedia type place we can go to? An order of scribes, the wiki. The wikis?
Normally I just go to the Grand
you mean the
Ducal
cloister
Library,
of Wiki?
Yes.
Oh, they've been long disbanded.
I couldn't get enough donations. I understand.
No, they did that drive, and just everyone was like, "Why? I just want to read about World War II."
Yeah, I think when they got too popular, people started spreading false information, and then, it all went downhill.
You notice, Ceuran, since you have 30 fucking passive perception now, Ashk just is much more mercurial now. I think you can pick up that I'm changing his accent every 5 words or so. But also just the way the light flickers, in moments he just looks younger, sometimes older, sometimes he doesn't even look that orcish. He looks more elvish. This is much more truer form than what you had before.
Just kind of looking him up and down. Ceuran's gonna make note of that, and say, do we search the room for treasures or just leave now? Do you think there's a treasure chest with magic items and gold in it?
If I could trouble you for a little healing, please.
Yes, of course. My apologies.
Thank you.
Was
You
we
see-
gonna look around for secret doors and the like for treasure?
I was gonna say, Ashk just kind of looks at you, Ceuran, and just sort of runs his hand out, to display, as he just sort of points at the innumerable dead bodies of adventurers all around the ground. If you wish to rob the grave.
Well, it's going towards a good cause, right?
And I start looting corpses.
Sean,
Give me, anyone who would like to search through the bodies can give me an investigation check.
Thank you.
Can I not loot the dead, but instead look for treasure chests that you might have hidden here for some odd reason, like it's a video game?
Yeah, I'll allow that.
I'll join Ceuran on that. Just kind of scouting, and also eventually just maybe before all this happened, and then I went out to go see Sarathil.
Okay.
well, Sean, I was going to say during this time of them talking and looting, I was going to mention something.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Go for it.
I was going to say after I rose the dead of my 2 companions, you said that amalgam was still in the river, right? And I could feel its presence.
Yes, very much so.
Kind of with a heavy heart of seeing the only 2 last 2 people that I was friends with, and then reminding myself of that creature that's still lingering on. We discussed that is the remains of the rest of the company, correct?
Yeah, it's made up. You can tell that the bones of it are made up of the rest of your company, and then there's just been like abomination flesh just added to it for extra meat space. But the necromantic energy is your companions.
Yeah.
And give me a quick Arcana check.
Natural 20.
Hell yeah. These bones are abhorrent to you as you begin to feel a strange sensation that you've not felt before. You hear, it's not just you don't just feel your magic in there.
Yeah.
You feel the essence of your companions in there. This is dark necromancy. The Ashk has, in manipulating the chambers, has dragged whole or partial bits of your old friends' souls and trapped them in these bones.
I will immediately storm back into the other room, with vicious intent.
I'd say you come in right as like Ashk has finished talking to them and being smug, and he looks like an asshole now. And as they're beginning to search the room, and Ashk is there. What would you like to do?
Like, in an angry tone, I'll just interject and be like, "Defiler, subdue your magic."
He looks behind you, and he sees Artessa and Arniel's corpses that followed you. Oh. A practicer of the arts. Are you so weak-stomached that you don't know true domination?
Looking to Ceuran, it's like, he's under your control. Make him drop the atrocity that he's committing upon my companions.
Ashk, what does he speak of?
In the process of protecting myself and the binding of your goddess's memory, I've reached my roots out. I've been here a long time, and I've delved my roots into these fields of glass, and travelers come to take that power and to take the power you've taken, and in that process they die, as I assumed you would. And in that process, my tendrils have run their roots through their souls.
Well, you're leaving this place now. You may sever those roots, because it's time that we start heading out. So please, for the sake of the group, release your magic on this, kind of looking back. Is he still, like, gaunt and deadly? Or dead?
Sarathil?
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not changed at all.
Okay. This man's friends, Ceuran says, now looking at the zombies, constructs, whatever, behind him, and then turning back to Ashk. For the good of the party, of course.
And you can see Ceuran, you can see as he's like, he's standing tall, but you can see almost like for a moment, you can see in his neck is burning the like singe marks of chains. You know, luminescent light of Ilivania, and he's like, for the good of the party, in a show of good faith. I would call you liberators. And you see he waves his hand, and you can see it kind of twists for a moment, and you can see this black and green magic moves through it. Similar to Herfost's magic you saw, but just a little more sophisticated almost. as you look over to even Artessa and Arniel's bodies, and you see, and there were less of them on them and more on the other bodies here, and you can see on the corpses beneath you as well. Where there weren't before, you would see some of those necrotic runes you're used to all over their bodies and bones that all seem to turn to sand and fall off of the bodies. They are free.
On investigation,
Sarathil, you would feel an immediate sense of ease as all the necromantic energy in this space that you've been overwhelmed with since you woke up is completely gone. The only vestige of necromancy is yourself, the shard of Ilyuvania that Ceuran carries, and Ashk. The bodies outside are all dimmed. Those essences that you felt have moved beyond, almost in an instant, quickly, fleeing almost what they were trapped within. And you can even feel maybe more at peace with what happened to Artessa and Arniel now.
Yes. I'll walk over to Ceuran and offer him a sign of gratitude. Thank you. My friends' souls can rest easy now. You're a smart man. Looking over to Ashk, I'm sure I don't need to tell you the danger that he poses. But I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Of course, I appreciate the extra pair of eyes.
I just kind of looked aside and said, clearly a lot has happened in my absence in this world. This isn't the place to ask too many questions. I ask you all, I may travel with you until I can figure out my way again.
Of course, we have many questions for you as well.
Many questions. I'd like to compare spellbooks at some point if we've got some times in our travels.
I kind of smirk at that and be like, knowledge is the most precious thing in this world. I would like that.
Right, so, and Ceuran taps his staff and goes, one last look around, everyone, and then let's head out of here, yes?
Yep. Sounds good.
With their one last look, I'd like to go back to the pile of corpses that was left in the river.
Yes. Honestly, when you go into that space, Sarathil, before like the walls were covered in this fleshy amalgam, just sort of this heap of bones and flesh that had made up all those who wished to enter here, about 90% of it has turned to sand.
Damn.
And you can see there are still bones, though. The heap that was your companions, all the flesh has turned almost to this murky sand in the water. The bones are all cleanly there. And there are no runes on them anymore. There's it's basically any flesh has turned to sand, and all the bones remain in this space. You actually weirdly see a man there who is dusting himself off, and he looks at you and starts running away.
What did he look like?
He looked an awful lot like that fucker who was trying to give you riddles to get you to. I don't know if I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's essentially.
I would have come across him as well. Okay.
Yeah, you would have come across him as well, or at least you wouldn't maybe not necessarily him, but whoever maybe was in that position who tricked him into being in that position.
Right.
But with terrified eyes, a man goes running out of the crypts.
I know I didn't really discuss this too much to my backstory, but how many companions would you allow me to have in my party?
I know. Yeah, we didn't.
I was gonna say 10 additional ones, so it's 13 of us. But if that's too much, it can be smaller.
How I would say you had 10 in total, including you. So You can rise 6 more.
Fair enough. Then I would do that.
Okay. Easy enough to do. You're master at this. You can easily twist and animate dead the rest of your companions to have your full party from the old days.
Is this gonna be like the sort of thing where I start looting the bodies and then they all come to life and I feel bad about robbing them?
No, but as you start to loot a lot of these bodies, they do start to turn to sand.
What about that door that the guy was, the guy who is now a man was guarding and said that?
Oh, that door is completely openable now. It's not sealed anymore.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out too.
Wait,
That door led to this chamber.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, it was 2 ways in essentially. All right, what were those? What was your investigation check again?
24.
24. Okay.
I got a 17.
17. Okay. Ceuran, I'd say you don't find any treasure chests that are just kind of hanging out there, but you do find, which I think is like the morally gray and not evil thing for Ceuran, is you find like loose gold, of like just like that has just like left the pockets most likely of these bodies, but you don't see them in pockets, so you feel better about taking it.
Sure.
If you want to take it.
How much is it?
How long do you want to spend picking up gold?
Not very long.
Okay. If it's not very long, say
Like a very short amount of time. Like he doesn't see the treasure chest and is a little upset, so he's like, "All right, I'll just scoop some of this gold off the ground."
yeah, I'll say you find 274 gold in total.
Nice.
And it's a mixture of like the amount equates to that, but there's also like maybe some gems in there and stuff.
I'll take it. Appreciate it.
One of them you find is this bright emerald. This is in addition to the 274 gold.
Okay.
That looks an awful lot like the Earth Elemental gem that Wiswick had a long time ago, but green and not yellow.
Okay, sounds good. Ceuran just kind of pockets that.
Okay. Wiswick, what was yours again?
24, I want to say. Let me double check that. Yes, 24.
Okay. You find an onyx statue of a dog.
Whoa.
You find a serpentine owl, serpentine the gem, and you find
new monster.
You find a set of. Is anyone else searching around the room?
I'm helping.
Okay, helping. Okay. Then Timber, in helping with him, you find a quiver of arrows that look like they should have withered away a long time ago. Their wood is pristine, made of like a white bark. The arrowheads look almost like dwarvish in make. They have runes craft across them, and they look like they're made of like an emerald type gemstone. They still have feathers on them that are in pristine condition, and the quiver is in pristine condition. You kind of see like this whole body turn to sand, and what's like left over afterwards is this quiver. And then the last thing you find, Wiswick, is a scroll container that has. When you open it up, you can clearly see a scroll with some magical transcript on it. That is a spell scroll.
I will have to look into that further in a little bit, but...
And then between all of you searching, you find Let's say 622 gold, made up of platinum and different things.
There's a lot of gold around here.
There's a lot of dead adventures.
I'm just gonna put that in the party money.
Coffers.
We have one of those.
My
We
bag
do
of
now.
holding.
Can't it just be my wallet?
Any other
No.
searching going on, or are you guys done in this space? Katya, what have you been up to? You just been sitting, catching your breath?
Yep. And just kind of like keeping an ear out just in case, but not really doing a great job, and sincerely wanting a drink.
I'd say
Timber hands Katya the flask.
Yes.
Ceuran raises an eyebrow and goes,
Don't
All
worry,
right,
Kieran.
we fought the gods. I think I deserve a little drink.
She does deserve a little.
the
Thank
essence
you,
of a
Timber.
god.
Is anyone else gonna?
Vizvik,
Yeah.
you see that ethereal crystal up there?
Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Can you turn that base into mud?
Yep. But where are we gonna carry it in?
It might shatter. Let's see how strong it is.
Why not?
Wait.
I-
Let's all get out of the room first.
Huron, you notice one last thing in the room. So there's this. If you remember the map, I don't have to set up anymore. There was kind of this old structure that was
Yes.
kind of ruined there, like what was probably a temple at one point. Once the orb had shattered, you do notice there is like this one smaller stone that kind of unhinged from the ruins, and it's just been slowly orbiting in a ring at the top of that tower-like ruin.
1 moment, please. And he's gonna steps of the night, up to go get a closer look at it.
Okay. It has runes on it, carved onto it, that you don't really recognize. It is a perfect cylinder, with but like the top and bottom of the cylinder, it's like a carved gem, as if like a literal modern stonecutter had smoothed over the center part of a gem. It's made of stone though. It is kind of like a bluish material, kind of like the Sapphirine Bluff veins, kind of like Katya's spear. And it is just hovering. As it's hovering there, like it stops once you get up to it, and it just sort of floats in front of you. You notice that it was beginning to repair this like old temple. Like you see like fresh stone in certain parts of it.
Can I touch it?
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Touch
It doesn't. You feel a quick like static, but just like you would if you were touching laundry you didn't put a dryer sheet in. But it doesn't really react to you. It just sort of is there.
Can I touch my staff to it?
Yeah. As you touch your staff to it, it kind of like a little light goes over it, like Ilyvanya's light. And then it kind of like immediately like starts to float around you, and then like kind of like scans you almost. You see kind of a similar light come out of it that came out of the shard, and then it just sort of comes back and settles in your hand.
Okay. I walk back down to the floor and go, carry on, boys. And I'm gonna walk out.
Yeah. It's once again one of those things that like if half the party wasn't able to just like fly at any time they want, it'd be harder to acquire. But yeah, that's it. That's all you can get from this chamber, and you can go ahead and do some weird experiments with it now if you'd like.
So, Sean,
this seems like a great opportunity, Timber, but I don't really know where we're gonna get with it. And I would kind of wanted to save that transmute Earth spell slot to clear out 40 feet of the statue that's on top of this pillar. I thought it would make that cat guy outside kind of happy if he could see his god's face once again.
You could build him a ladder, or I don't know. There are better
I
things.
guess. I mean, he doesn't have much to do out here in the desert. Maybe he'll take some initiative now that there's no more zombies.
Gee.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Well, it's up to you. I know that these crystals are an anomaly, and they go for a high price.
Not to mention, it would be useful to have some samples to show the dwarves if we're gonna try creating a tuning fork like Ceuran requested.
Well, I don't know how shards react, but the whole crystal itself seems to transport from one place to another. And we wouldn't be going underwater with this crystal. We would just go to that crystal over there. So I think this is the safest option if we are to try. Everybody get out of the room. Ask you too. You could stay if you want, but it's up to you.
No, no trickery. Out of the room.
Timber smirks, but
This spell has an
You're muted.
120.
You're muted.
Just said Ash loyally follows.
This spell has a 120-foot range, Sean. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try and do this as close to maximum range with.
Yeah, you can go to the doorway that you walked in through, which is about 60 feet away from it,
Okay,
or
very good.
more like 45 feet away.
So yeah, the plan is to just transmute 40 feet of earth around the ceiling area of the crystal that is floating, or like attached to the top of the structure. So it'll hopefully fall to the ground and not hit the ground and teleport the world upside down or something like that.
Great.
Yeah.
So you cast the spell, turning a pillar into mud or sand. What are you turning into?
I'm turning the stone area that is attached to the crystal into mud, so that way it loosens its grip.
So any stone around it, essentially, because it's kind of like the battle map was inconsistent because there's a ceiling there that was also attached to. I just put it there for reference.
I also don't know how deep the crystal vein goes
Sure.
into the thing, so I'm
Okay.
going as like deep as possible. Like I'm focusing my spell to the point where like I get the full 40 range into the
Okay.
darkness.
So kind of like as if like I imagine kind of like as if a like cordoned off black hole around it instantly kind of slowly vibrates and then starts to slew away like mud as it all just sort of slops onto the ground with a splash. You can see a significant portion of the pillar has been removed, and a significant portion of the earth above and the ceiling has been removed.
Like an
Wiswick,
emerald-
roll me a D100.
Okay. I don't like the sound of that. All right, here we go. Oh, did they even have that on here? Okay, good. I got a 48.
I just
but
killed Wiswick.
I got a 48.
So luckily, you just feel the sands dropping from the ceiling, and the temple only shifts a little bit and shakes a little bit as one massive supporting pillar has now been severed from the ceiling.
What are you doing?
We're gonna go!
You all feel like a rumbling around, and then it stabilizes. Wiswick, you can see some of the earth above it is kind of like cracking into each other, as if almost like tectonic plates hitting each other, but it all kind of like stills itself and catches itself. The crystal is free floating right now, and it is not falling. It's just exactly where it was. You can see some of it. It's kind of like. Some of it, there's some more of it that was underneath the rock that is exposed now, but it is just, it has, and I say floating, I don't mean like it's hovering. It's just as if it was attached to something solid in the air.
This is why we need beta testers.
It's true.
Report the bug.
I could try shooting it with an arrow.
Better idea.
Please do.
Never mind.
It just shoots back the other crystal at me.
That's exactly what I was gonna do.
Don't worry, I know how your mind works.
My lord.
Well, if we have a short rest, I could try using telekinesis.
Can
but-
we go,
Vizik, we
please?
should leave.
Don't feel well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it was worth a shot.
It was just worth the one shot with let's go.
Okay.
We got what we needed.
All right. So you you step out into the previous chamber and through up to let's change this. This is too intense. Back up the spiral stairs. You can see everything. Everything is kind of like a little rumbly as you're moving through, as things are shifting and finding their spots. It kind of persists as just this intermittent grumble in the earth. But you make it up to the top. You feel the fresh air. You can see deep into the horizon as that shifting sandstorm has settled with the subjugation of Ashk. It's about 6 o'clock or so at this point, you can tell from the sky. It's quite dark at this point. The sun is setting. And on the horizon, there's just the blood ring around the horizon. And you can step down and you find yourself in the middle of the oasis. You can see most of the light in this space is coming from the scintillating moon fruits up in the trees and the tiny auroras that come off of the trees. As you can see, the herd of water buffalo are kind of clustered together, sleeping by the oasis waters. You can see a whole clan of salt flat weasels are out right now.
Snuggle
And
babies. They're
They
called
are
snuggle
currently playing with Timber's clan of salt flat weasels, and they're just all over each other and having fun running around this whole space. A group of animals that seem to have never known predators coming after them in this moment. They feel safe here.
Sean,
And then-
you mind reminding me again of the difference with the sky here as opposed to when I entered?
Yeah, so the sky...
Like that sickly kind of like aura that was overhead, is that like not there anymore?
Gone. Yeah, this world that you're looking at is healthier than you ever thought it would be. In those moments down below as you awoke, thinking about what the world was like when you left it, you all believed the end of the world was coming, essentially, with the destruction of the Lay Sanctum. That the world wouldn't heal from it, essentially, is what you believed. And this is evidence that the world very much so healed. It probably still has some scars and wounds from it, but these regions, the outer regions, from what you can see, persisted. The sky is clear, some clouds, some stars, as you would see a typical Gwenvalier evening sky, like you would have seen in your time.
All right. Kind of look up in amazement, like, I never could have believed this was possible. So good to see blue sky again.
What color was it when you last saw it?
Dark. Black. Riddled with sickly red?
Clouds.
Green?
Green.
Green. Sickly green. For a while.
This was from the effects of the Lay Sanctum erupting, yes?
Yeah. It was.
When we had been leaving Taramran, was there a similar kind of effect in the air, or?
There was a similar effect in the air in the immediate aftermath of the explosion.
Mhm.
If you recall, when you were all hiking back, there was the
Yeah.
black clouds and the rain. It cleared up pretty quickly for that because it was, in comparison, barely a blip compared to
Yes.
the Ultimastra Sanctum. But that tracks. with your experience. You would see there is torchlight inside of Joe's tent. You would also see, as you're walking through, Ash kind of is like waving his hand, and you can see stepping out of every single tent is the bones, the skeletons that Timber was finding. And as they step out, you see Ash waving a hand, and the green runes on them all turn to sand, and each set of bones collapses, freed from his containment of them.
How far do your roots go, Ash?
If I am not mistaken, I've created influence across where once the sea was. These whole fields of glass, as you all know them. Last I remember, these was all salt water.
Well, let's have no more of that going forward, shall we?
As you wish.
It's appreciated that you're undoing it willingly, though.
Well.
Show of good faith.
Quickly, while we're going through this village, can I look for chains?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I said, now I'm gonna ask you for a roll. There's
Thank
some old
you.
chains here somewhere.
Dope. All right, Ceuran. After saying that, and with the good faith comment, Ceuran's going to pick up these chains and kind of heft them and look over at Ash and just stare at him for a moment. And he's gonna walk over. He's gonna put it around his neck, and if you allow me, use mending to fuse them so that he has a collar with a length of chain down it. And Ceuran's just, it's like like in the movies where like the guy's like fixing the other guy's tie or whatever.
Yeah.
That's Ceuran's doing it to him, fuses it, and then just like holding his hands on his shoulder, just goes, as a reminder, you're still a chained god.
Kinda mean, Ceuran.
You might not be as cruel as the other gods in their punishments. You share their flavor, the drama.
Stepping back and kind of just putting his hands up, Ceuran goes, you learn from the best.
You see he kind of like tugs at the chains, and he's like, and he kind of waves his hands, and you see he's like trying to make the chains look like something else. But even just like the touch of your magic with the mending, they won't change. He's just like, fair enough, cleric. What would y'all like to do now?
Go to Joe's place.
Do you think she has any more of that moon juice?
Mm.
I could
Most
use some of that.
certainly.
You hear some laughter inside. There's clearly more than just Joe in there. And Ceuran, you would notice, because Joe's tent is a little closer to the standing stones, that the sentinel stones around this, you feel the shard of Illyvania you have on you now kind of like pulse a little, and you can see across all of these sentinel stones are the made visible these very clear etchings of Illyvania. They all scintillate. Once you get close enough to one, they all almost in an instant around you ignite with this light that reminds you of just
You said there's an etching of Illyvania on them?
yes, you would actually see on each of the stones there are like almost like laser cutted depictions of Illyvania in multiple forms. You see Tabaxi, and some of them you see your understanding of Ilyavania, and some of them there's no language or words on any of it, which is pretty typical of artifacts of Ilyavania. She seems to prefer the oral tradition.
Are they Ilyavanian CDs?
Laser etched, I get it. No, but they mostly have depictions of the phases of the moon throughout them, and depictions of the travelers, which are the moons of Vero and Aradun, and other motifs like that throughout.
That's fun. Let's go in the hut.
Okay. Inside, you would find Jo is you'd find Joe's little skeleton companion made up of animal bones is currently playing some music, actually, weirdly enough. Plucking away at an old lute. And there are two Cobalt Hunters clearly there who are eating the same sort of food and medleys made up the last time you were here. Sorry, I'm just fixing something because streamer mode has not been enabled on my music one, so you guys messaging has been putting that Discord beep into the stream.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. It's totally my fault.
Alright, it's fixed. Alright.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You see these two are enjoying themselves quite clearly, as they are as Joe's skeletal creature is entertaining them, and you see she comes out from behind one of the curtains and steps in with more food and whatnot, as she sees you all, and she almost drops it all as she sees you, and then kind of straightens herself out, and she's just like, "As such, you survived. I was getting worried. I didn't know how long you would be down there."
Well, these things take time, of course, and made a few new friends, gesturing to Sarathil, and acquaintances. Ceuran says, almost like stepping aside to allow Ashk to be seen behind him, so as to not keep any secrets.
Her smile fades immediately as she sort of starts sniffing at the sight of Ashk. This one reeks.
It's the essence of Ashk. He attempted to hide away in the body of a harbinger. It's okay though. I've placed him under a Geist spell, where he will remain under our control, not betray us, etc., etc.
Best not. You see Ash kind of behind you. Ceuran just sort of grins at her and waves his hand like this. Gives her a little wave. And she looks to the Cobalt Hunters and says, "They arrived shortly after you went into the crypts, saying that they had a message for you. They have found the glass titan that you seek as such."
Oh, that was quick.
Fantastic.
You see one of them kind of like finishes their drink, and they're like, well, you've been gone for almost a week. And I'm going to say we're going to cut to a break because the stream is having a few problems. And we want to see if we can get that resolved before we continue too much. So, folks, if you can still hear us, we will be back in 5 minutes, and we will see if we can figure out what's going on with the stream. Where we left off, folks, after Catastrophe, was our heroes had ascended from the tower, or not tower, the temple. They rejoined the Oasis village, where Ashk had, of his own accord, released several more bones and skeletons that he had control over, releasing their souls to rest. Ceuran had seen his... the new moon shard he collected had a reactive effect to the sigil stones, the sentinel stones, all around the Oasis. And they saw that there were more people than just Zhou in the tent. When they went inside, they saw that there were 2 Cobalt Hunters there who had come earlier that day to find them shortly after they entered the temple. Ceuran explained to Zhou that they had found a new companion in Sarathil, but also an acquaintance in Ashk. And Zhou immediately hissed at Ashk, smelled the horrible energies, the bad vibes coming off of him, and Ceuran assured her that that he would behave himself and that he was completely under Ceuran's control. So we come back into it with the lot of you there. You have Ashk there. The hunters are finishing their food as well. What would you all like to do? Jumping back in.
I think we had just broached the topic of the hunters and the Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the hunters had just said that they had arrived because they had found the glass Titan. Katya had just commented on how that was fast, and then they commented on about how you've been gone for a week.
Well, it didn't feel like a week. But where is it?
We have caught
Nearby?
it in a unique situation. It is currently drinking of the earth. And we know that when it is drinking of the earth, it is stationary for a very long time. It is a perfect opportunity to find it and do what you need to do.
How long do we have before it's not drinking anymore?
Well, this creature tends to spend a week drinking of the earth before it continues its patrols around the oasis, since it only drinks once a year.
Right. Did you see it start drinking, or are we like 4 days into this week?
No, we are about 1.5 days into this week.
All right. So we have a little time, but we should still make haste, because in case it decides to, I don't know, get up and go early.
That is the thing. We can get to it in. We ride hard and through. With little rest, we could get to it. You all have horses, right? You brought horses with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Our carts.
If we ride on horseback with no excess weight, we could get there in time to have plenty of time. It's only about a day or 2 away from here, but we need to ride fast and possibly through the night even. Not necessarily tonight. There's enough time to rest this evening, but we'll have to make a choice how quickly you want to get to it for the next night.
I was going to say, I do not want to leave right away. I am not at full capacity, so I would be no help. But I think we should leave tomorrow and see how far we get.
We'll
During
depart
the
first
day.
thing in the morning, yes.
Yes, the earlier in its process we can be, the less likely of it having an early evacuation of its drink with your interference.
We'll have enough horses to get the main party there, but concerning the carts, and then turning to Clay, who's been with us this whole time, Ceuran goes, I think it may be best if you take this one, Ceuran says, gesturing to Ashk, and your retainers back to the monastery.
I was just going to suggest that.
We'll make haste on the horses and meet back with you once we've completed these tasks.
Be careful. And he'll step out with his retainers to go and get the carts ready to check in on the retainers also, because they're probably by the carts. Joe kind of like looks around, and she's kind of eyeing you, Ceuran. As such, did you find what you were looking for?
We did, thank you, Joe. And Ceuran kind of presents the staff forward, which now, so before it was very like kind of shattered and broken.
Well, did have you put the I think last
No,
week
I
you didn't put it
didn't.
on. That's what I was
You're
kind of,
right.
yeah.
My
So do you want to do that
apologies.
now?
Yes.
Because I was like the whole time in the beginning, I was like, is he gonna put the is he just gonna carry this around?
Yes. Right up my sleeve. No.
Okay.
Ceuran goes, oh yes, of course. So he's gonna show her the shard. And actually he's gonna quickly like be like, wait, come back in here,
Yeah,
Clay. Or
Clay will come back
You gotta
in.
see this, man. It's
yeah. It's his whole point of him coming here.
Yes. And actually, Kieran's probably like, it might be nicer to go outside. Come on, everyone outside.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. You see
Just
Ash
ready.
is standing there, and he's like, me as well.
I don't care.
I'm here for the like mean girl back and forth that's gonna happen between Ash and Ceuran.
Necessary evil, to be sure.
Yes. You all step outside, and there's very calm, still air outside. As you even see like some of the animals out there kind of look up at the mass of people now, being used to only Joe being here, and now there's like, 7 people, 10 skeletons, a lot of business going on outside. And what do you do?
And so are the sentinel stones still glowing?
Yes, they are.
Perfect. What a great backdrop. As Ceuran, with a little more flair for the dramatic, quickly steps of the night up maybe 2 feet, not even like 1.5 feet. And then he comes back and he goes, well, this is what we've all been looking forward to, right? A little bit of extra magic from the Crescentheart to hopefully prepare us for whatever comes ahead, whether it's Morskaith Fulum, the servants of the Pallid King, or eventually going after, and saying this kind of looking at Ash for a moment, the Harbinger himself. And then he tilts his staff in, takes the crystal, and puts it to the large, moonstone that he's been growing.
And as the shard gets closer, you feel like a magnetic pull from your shattered moon to it, and you see it immediately sort of shoot. And then Ceuran, give me a wisdom saving throw.
With advantage.
Yes.
Heroes
Heroes Feast.
Feast.
Are you fucking 13?
And
Oh.
13.
You all watch as Ceuran does this. There's a blinding light that emanates from the moon. Sarathil, this reminds you of the blinding light you experienced when you spoke with this shard. Ceuran, you're consumed in this blinding light, and you see ahead of you, at the sort of beyond this, there's a source of this light for you that's different from everyone else. And you see that silhouette that you saw in the glass of the shard back in the Ghost of Ruination. And you see Ilivanya's memory there. And you can see the eyes open, and there's that light emanating from them. You feel your body like overwhelmed with power in this moment. As you can feel the history of this space now, and you almost see that moment that I described to Wiswick when this stone We'll push through it. When this stone pierced Ashk and the Harvester. This stone is bearing some corruption, but the light that you're bringing with it, the full staff's power, is purifying it, and you're feeling that purification. It feels like searing pain, as it is ridding the shard of any touch of Carcery or Ashk. And it feels almost like, imagine if you were the earth as weeds were being pulled out of it. The way that like the roots violently get ripped out. That's kind of what you're feeling in a metaphorical way as the light is growing brighter and brighter. Everyone outside, this light starts to dim down to a singular point on the staff, and then you all feel pressure shoot out from it. And you see Ceuran just drop from his high up position, flying with Steps the Brave, and he gets blown back, and Ceuran, you land in the water.
Splash.
And with your armor, you feel yourself sinking.
Timber runs over and
Yeah, I was gonna say.
helps him up.
He's far into the central oasis. You'd have to go swimming to get him.
I'll jump in. I'll go swimming.
Okay.
I'm just gonna run across the water.
Oh yeah, you have. As you're all doing this, I mean, you'd have to go underwater where he's sinking. Ceuran, you're not seeing any of this. You see yourself under the water, but there's a different vision that comes to you. You feel yourself then suddenly ascend in the water. And it all goes dark, and then a light appears out of the corners of your eyes. And you feel you're no longer sinking in the water, but there's a shallow pool of water that frames your face. And you're kind of arms outstretched in a pool of water that's about, maybe half a foot deep. The area around you is black, twisted, charred, and scarred metal, mingled with thick, dark roots with bulbous tumors of white, luminescent lunar light. You are, as far as you can tell, in the Tower of Therismore.
I stand up.
The water gently cascades down your arms. You are in... You don't have any of your armor anymore. You don't even have the staff. You're in your acolyte robes from when you were young. There is a light at the end of this tunnel that is reminiscent of the central chamber of the Tower of Therismore, the seat of Queen Ayla herself.
Ceuran cautiously walks towards the light.
As you do so, you find yourself in one of the balcony rings of the tower, as you know that light shoots up through the tower, and you can see down from it into the antechamber, the throne room itself, where there is the scintillating water, the vast roots, and you see that pillar of white, that figure in the dirtied white robes, pale face. You see Queen Ayla standing in the pool. You see surrounding her are some of her seers.
How high up am I?
Here, you're probably about 100 feet up.
Do I still sense any magic within myself? Can I Steps of the Night down?
Yes, you could. You do feel the magic within you.
Do I feel other kinds of magic within me? Like,
Give
could I
me-
cast a spell if I needed to?
Give me an Arcana check. Just to see if you feel powerful enough to do so.
11.
You feel like this is a fragile vision, but you do retain your power in it. And you could cast spells. They might not interact with the world the same way you think they would outside of this.
Right. Well, so then I'm just gonna cast It's for 1 minute. Never mind. I'm just gonna Steps of the Night down to just get a better view.
Okay. They don't seem to notice you as you do so. As you're descending, you see Queen Aela dismisses these seers. And they start to step away as she steps closer to the center of the pool. And she starts to talk to herself. You've never heard her voice, because she didn't speak to you when you came here. It comes out slow and hoarse, as if she hasn't said a word in 1,000 years. The boy has done it. The heretic. She looks down into the waters and steps deeper into them. She raises a hand up. You see out of the water almost forms up to her hand like a pillar. And the glassy but also scintillating water seems to solidify into a shard. And she grasps it. Where are you in the room?
I imagine at this point I've descended and I'm right where I would have been when I originally came. So like a little down the steps behind her, and probably just slowly approaching.
Okay, cool. Give me a perception check.
Holy shit. 19, which by the way means I rolled a natural 4. I don't think I've rolled over a 5 yet today.
Okay, so you don't notice whatever. You don't notice anything.
I don't notice something?
What? As soon as her hands wrap around the shard, the room goes silent. Any sounds of trickling, any sounds of footsteps from the seers outside, any wind whistling through the tunnels here stops. Everything is a dull thumb. You see some of the water even, like, the space loses sense of gravity as some of the water starts to drip up into spheres as she's holding it, her back to you at this point. As you're stepping up the steps to this central font, she turns around and looks you directly in the eyes.
A heretic, am I?
I suspected this might connect us.
I've spoken with her. Well, you know how she can be.
A memory of her.
She does not see you as one of her chosen. Just what are you?
You can see she reacts slowly to everything. You can see, like, that face you've seen before with these etchings across her skin, like her skin is stone. It doesn't look like tattoos or scars. It's just these shapes similar to the sigil stones across her face. The white hood with the decorative ornaments that holds up around her, those that what is pretty ragged cloak, white cloak that she bears. Her bare feet underneath, her bare arms kind of outstretched out of it as she holds this. I am all that is left. I was chosen before you were born, before your father was born, your mother, your whole family were but servants of mine when I was chosen. And she can no longer choose. You believe you're chosen. There's a ghost hiding in your mind. She's long dead. What is left are memories. And I will admit, and she'll step closer to you now, as she releases the shard and it just floats around her now.
Ceuran will kind of step up to match her as she steps towards him.
I will admit you have done more seeking than any other. And you found more than even the seers who serve me now.
Well, I'm guided by her holy light. Of course I
Yeah.
would succeed. But it's not just her. The other gods lend me their strength as well.
The musings and hope of a child. There was only ever one God who watched over Alicia. And she is gone. And I am what remains to watch over our people.
And watch over you have. You've protected them very well. But I must ask you, at what cost, Ayla? When was the last time you looked outside the Sinvosi Peaks to what's happening out there? Evil stirs across the land, and I don't just mean the wars of humans, the Gwyn, cults in the Beastlands. No, there's much more at work here. And I fear isolating ourselves will not protect us. We did it before and it resulted in the death of our goddess. We can't keep living like this, hiding. I believe your arrogance is clouding your judgment.
I believe my lifetime is informing me. I have seen dark clouds poisoning the air. I have seen civilizations sink beneath the waves. I have seen gods scattered across the sky. I have seen fire, ice, death, all. And I persist. I remain. And so does Alicia.
And if the rest of the world burns?
Perhaps those other gods can help. But we will remain. Persist. We have all the time in the world.
I think it's the curse of the old, the undying, to forget that there is always danger in the world, and that you can always fall. Have to rely on someone else sometime. To dismiss the other civilizations of this continent, the other gods. You make yourself weak. You hoard your power when there are many that can benefit from it. I don't think what you're doing is wrong, Ayla. I just think you need to broaden your horizons a little. It's been so long. You've been trapped up in here. Come, see the world with me. See what's happening out there. I don't believe you're evil, and I know the fickle minds of gods. If she has decided you are no longer her chosen, I'm sorry. But you can still help to make the world better. Sorry.
No, you're good. Give me a persuasion roll.
Just a normal persuasion roll?
Just a normal persuasion roll against the roughly 10,000-year-old queen.
11. That -1 modifier.
She comes closer to you now, so that she's
And I'm
right in front of you. Yeah, she'll meet you so that you are close enough to shake hands, we'll say. And you feel like being this close to her, even in a vision, you could see the radiance across her skin and the way that she emanates light in the same way a moon would. And you feel dimmed next to her almost, as she just stares at you with those darkened eyes. And she will reach up and sort of just touch the scraggled old beard. And then she kind of twists her head as if confused and reading something in your eyes. I don't think what you're doing is wrong either. But despite what horrors have aged your flesh, I still think you're just a frightened child. Time will give us answers.
As it always does.
I suppose you'll come for this.
I believe it's my quest, yes.
Perhaps that is the final test then. If you are her chosen champion, your arrival will prove me wrong, and prove my timeless memories wrong. Come. Come, and we will see this answer through.
I look forward to meeting you again.
I won't make it easy. But if you arrive, perhaps this conversation can continue. She'll start to walk away from you.
Send your best. I've got a few champions of my own.
And if you are chosen, you will make it through. Though a ghost is what you seek. Goodbye. And everything will dim. And you'll awaken coughing up water as Katya and Timber are dragging you out of the water.
Your Honor, you alright?
Christ! Or
What
just by
happened?
the Everstem.
What happened?
Oh, I saw her.
Oh,
Ivana?
Ivania? Jinx.
A fragment memory of her, yes. But no. Queen Ayla.
Oh. That's disappointing. Is it?
Well. Yes and no. She now knows we're coming for the final shard.
Wait, you talked to her?
Yes. That's
It
usually
wasn't
how
just
these
a
things
like a
work.
dream or like a memory. It was an actual
I think that these, Ceuran says, holding up the staff with the crystals at the end, connect me to the crystal that she keeps in her possession.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that.
Let's
I
get you
appreciate
dry.
What you would notice, Kieran, as you lift yourself up with the staff, each placement of the staff down as you walk leaves behind a small circle growing of bioluminescent grass. And you can easily notice, you look back and you would see from the waters now are growing rapidly on their edges Telwood Hama. As this oasis has come to life as a grove and sanctuary of Iluvania. And your staff is now awakened.
Hey.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. There is an awakened version in D&D Beyond. There is one thing I have to add to it, but it has all the stat boosts, so you can use it for combat.
Fantastic. Thank you.
The main difference is, first of all, it's got all the stat boosts. 2, you can now use it once per day to teleport to one of the groves you've created.
Ooh,
So
very
you can
cool.
you can teleport either here or to the Ghost of Ruinations once a day at will.
Nice.
Is
Very
it
cool.
just like this teleport spell, or is it
E-
just him?
It's it's not like the teleport spell. It's more like teleportation circle, and these are his circles.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it.
What about the one on Veramalcia?
We will. That one is part of Word of Recall, but
Okay.
let me think about that. I think I'll probably allow it, but I just want to think about it a little bit because
Sure.
since it is technically, you know what I'll say, it does count for that. But if you set up another sanctuary somewhere else with the spell, it'll
Okay.
remove that last one.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
You can have the way I'll put it is you can have one mobile sanctuary and these 2 permanent ones.
Cool.
You see Jo has fallen to her knees as she's watching this all rapidly go around. What does your staff look like now? How does this changed it?
So the staff before was, just like part of a. It would have been more like a crescent moon with debris that floats around it when he activates it, which is how he generally normally carries it. He doesn't really try to disguise the fact that it's an artifact of a god. So, it generally would just have little debris and a slight fog coming off, but now it looks almost identical to the moon that would hang over the skies in Elysia, where it's just this slow rotating moon that's got a hole in it where you can see bursts of moon rock coming out, held suspended in the air as it gives off a faint sparkle of twilight light. And then, the staff has some small bits of Telwood Hama, and they're growing a little more over it. Some of them wrapping around the wood itself towards the top. So it's got 2 kind of coats of this Telwood Hama and then the wood beneath.
And for Mike, for your reference, Telwood Hama are these lattice fungi that grow in pillars. They look almost like geometric shapes, but it's fungi that grow. You all notice just the air comes to life around you. You can see insects crawling out of the trees, coming kind of to life in this. This space was pretty well lived in compared to the wastes around it, but now it is just rapidly changing. Where there were just these small footsteps of grass growing, it is now sweeping across the whole space. And there is now this gently swaying field of about a foot tall silver grass. You can see the snuggle buddies are jumping around and dancing around in it together. These water buffalo are starting to eat some of it to be like, what's this new chow? The trees are much brighter than they were before, and the sigil stones do not dim; they stay lit up. And the water has this beautiful twilight glitter to it. You hear some cracking and crumbling behind you as the mesa that held the temple begins to collapse in on itself. And then it doesn't fall like a tower, it collapses inward and then kind of turns to sand.
Wasn't me! I swear I didn't do anything!
You started it.
I don't know what you're talking about!
Well, there goes those crystals.
You would see there is still kind of like the underground did not disappear. It's just this peak disappeared. There is now kind of like the Telwood Hama and the grass are kind of overgrowing the base of the stairs that led into the lower chamber. You see they start to like grow into it in their own way to purify it.
DM is merciful. Praise. He has not taken away our space crystals.
You see Clay kind of is looking around right now and like walking in the grass that's now waist height for anyone who is of standard height. Wiswick, it's over your head. As if Wiswick starts running around, you would just see like this path moving through as the grass gets pushed down.
Just a hat.
Yeah, just a hat, just a wizard's hat pointing out. These bioluminescent insects start to gather out, creating like twilight fireflies all around. It's a beautiful sight. It reminds you of the sanctuary he made in Vermalcia. But Clay just kind of like walks up and like kneels down by the water and takes some in his palm. And then kind of washes his face with all of it. And kind of comes up, looks back to his retainers, who are like their jaws open. And then he goes up to you, Ceuran. I think I've seen what I need to.
Fantastic.
We'll have much to talk about when we go back to Vermalcia.
Oh, I'm certain of it.
I'll prepare the carts to go back to the temple. We'll see you there.
Be safe, friend.
You as well. And he's short-worded because he's kind of like... I mean, he's seen a lot of shit with you all, but this is miracle kind of stuff.
Wiswick is like kind of eavesdropping a little, keeping an eye on the staff now that it's newly formed. Is very interested in it. Thinking about casting Identify on it next time he gets a chance. And he looks up to Ceuran and says,
We finally got what you were looking for. I'm really happy for you. Do you think it'll be enough?
Well, we still have one more shard to go in Elysia. But we still have one more companion to pick up before we head there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do you think it's going to be enough to save Scarlet?
Well, it's gonna have to be. Plus, we have a new ally in Sarathil. And maybe while we're in Vermalcia, we can get some more advantages.
Yeah, I think me and Timber were talking about some plans. Maybe, we're gonna have to do some serious planning.
Of course.
One thing at a time, we can't let this opportunity go to waste. We should probably go with the Cobalt Hunters for now.
Yes, of course. I think if there's nothing else anyone would like to do. No, I should leave that for the gods.
You see Ash has left with Clay. Like Clay just kind of like tugged on the chain and was like, get over here.
Come on, dog.
But even Ash, though, like Ceuran, like kind of noticing everyone's face, even Ash was kind of like concealing in his impressed nature. Like it was also somewhat like hiding himself a little from the light behind one of these larger stones or rocks. Like the blinding nature was more impactful against him. And as you go back to go talk with the Cobalt Hunters before going to bed, the last thing you all see is Jo, waist deep at this point in the waters of the oasis. You see she's kind of, her head's bowed and she's clutching something in her hands she's taken out of her robes. So you'd see a almost marble in color tabaxi skull. That she slowly places in the water. You can see it start to come apart. And as it disintegrates in the water, the twilight waters look like the sky as it creates stars. She dives in and swims with the laughter and smile of a child as she lays to rest her partner, Sarathil. Sarva. When you go inside, the hunters tell you that they'll join you, or they'll at least lead you to the Glass Titan and help you get back safely. But they're mainly there to make sure that you don't do anything too disruptive to the Titan. It's more so.
Handle that.
They say you'll have to ride up to it, find a way onto it. You'll need to find a spot that is clear of growth to extract a scale. You'll have to find a way to extract the scale. And then you'll have to find a safe way off. If you disrupt it too much, it might end its drinking early, which could be make things a lot harder. There are creatures that call it home that might attack you if they feel threatened or hungry. But that if you're smart about it, it shouldn't be too difficult. They say we'll ride in the first light and go through the next evening to get there. Any questions or concerns?
Leaning over to Sarathil. This army, they're not gonna do anything, right?
I know they
I'm
may
not
look
used
intimidating.
to.
It took a while for me to get used to as well, but these were once my friends. They won't harm you. Quickly, Sean, them talking about the Titan, I wonder. Sorry, actually, did you want to say something else?
No, that was basically it.
Um,
Recognizing the fact that
What-
we have an army of
yeah.
skeletons.
It's only 9. He's not really an army.
Yes.
When they mentioned the Titan, do I know anything about that?
Muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Yes, actually. The Titan was around during your time. It was not called the Glass Titan then, because it was much smaller. It was just called the Glass Wanderer, and you knew it as a... Actually, give me a quick Arcana check to see how much you know about it.
18.
Okay. You know that it was, in your time, it was essentially a fledgling elemental titan. It was something that had been observed to have been born sometime before the New Age. So it was born out of the recovery period of the Morser conflict, in that it just sort of settled in the salt flats and started to take on attributes of the salt flats. You know that it is an elemental titan, though. Like it is a like either reborn or newly born primordial creature that would have been reminiscent of what probably roamed Aradun before there was any humans, elves, or anything. And that is pretty much what you know. To hear it called a glass titan makes you immediately think, oh, well, it kept eating and it kept growing.
Okay, so I can put two together that, oh, this is probably what it is.
Yeah. And in your mind, you can even connect the fact that, oh, 1,000 years later, it's still around. It must be fucking huge.
Yeah. Okay.
Wiswick is gonna try and just talk to the Cobalt Hunters for a little bit more information or planning,
Mhm.
like asking them like how heavy the scales are, how difficult they are to remove, what type of methods they've used in the past, if they've ever were successful doing this.
Well, we have never attempted to remove any scales from the creature. We tend to leave it alone, and are very careful about those who come to interfere, because it is a very ancient creature. And as far as removing the scales, it is like removing a rock from a mountain. It would be very difficult. It will require, if you're doing it physically, manually, it will require a lot of strength. Some kind of leverage. It's not going to be just kind of, oh, they go up there with a crowbar and just pry it off. It's going to require a little bit more than that.
What, you think like 1,000 pounds of force will do it?
It could. That's definitely more than just a guy with a pickaxe.
I guess that'll have to manage. Any signs of, like, does this thing molt or anything like that?
It does. It does. Sometimes it can be dangerous to be around it when it is molting, because the earth shell around it splits and leaks out hot magma and steam, and it can be very dangerous to creatures around it, except for those that have evolved to live upon the creature. And it sheds its exterior stone carapace, which will fall to the earth to become new mountains. And then it will erupt out of its own heap.
Like, it's getting more difficult the more questions I ask. How big are these scales?
We've not seen the scales up close, but I presume based on the size of the creature that they must be very big. The creature itself is roughly... We've not measured ourselves, but if we're guessing, 400 or 500 feet tall. The scales, don't think like snake scales. It's not like a reptile. It is more like a scale mail armor. A piece of that made of elemental organic material. But it will be quite large, I presume. There'll be varying sizes, though, of course. Some will be small, some will be very big. Depending on where on the body you go.
Physical descriptions of these molten scales that you might have noticed in the past, like, are they a different color than the rest of them, or...?
They just become inert rock and crumble when they fall off.
Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, anyway, thanks for your help anyway. Well, I guess we'll see what we can do.
Of course.
I think Wiswick's gonna spend the rest of his time. Maybe, actually, he's gonna come up to Sarathil and say,
This is gonna be a tough one to crack without some magic help. Do you think you have anything that might be able to pry a scale off of a giant creature?
What you're doing seems like a monumental task. Most of my intellectual knowledge does not pertain to the destructive type, unfortunately.
Well, I got a great spell for you, and I actually have been storing up on some components. So if you want to just like work with me tonight, maybe I could get you proficient enough to teach you one spell, just so we can work this out together. I think it might be a great help if I had your assistance in this, but you know, it's going to take a lot of work, so I'm not sure if you're up for it.
I'm always up for learning more about the arcane arts. Let's take a look, and then maybe I could show you some of my spells as well.
Nice, but you know, priorities first. You know, we have an objective in mind, so let's stay on track here.
So I'm going to try and teach him how to learn telekinesis, hoping that with his spell and my spell combined, we can increase the force power of a pull to get a certain piece removed from this creature.
What is the what spell level is that?
So it is a 5th level spell.
So it's going to take him 10 hours to learn that, and
Yeah.
250 gold.
I have the money, but I don't think we have the time. We have to stay up all night.
Well, Sarathil doesn't need to sleep as long as you all do, because he's done dead.
How long does he need to sleep for?
Check in your race features,
Competition now?
because it might essentially be reflavored trance, where I think you need to like sit motionless for 4 hours.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because I would.
You don't need to sleep. Magic can't put you to sleep. You can finish a long rest in 4 hours if you spend those hours in an inactive, motionless state, during which you retain consciousness.
So this is what I will say. Wiswick, if you take Sarathil's book and begin to write the spell into it, while he takes his long rest now, Sarathil will then have enough time to finish the work. You have to do it together, but you will be able to maneuver it to allow him to, with the cost of the ink and paper coming from you, he can complete learning telekinesis.
Well, what about Wiswick's long rest?
Well, that's what I mean, because right now it's around 7:00. So if he takes a long rest now, that'll go up to what 11.
Yeah.
So then Wiswick will spend that 4 hours doing this, and then Wiswick will go to bed at 11.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Okay.
And Sarathil will finish the last 6
game.
hours of the.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, because I mean it just makes sense. Like you do have enough time if you work on it together.
I'm down.
It's cute. You guys get your first pet project together.
Aw.
It just means that I don't have enough time to identify all the stuff that I found in the cave.
That's true. That is the trade-off. Is like Wiswick doesn't have the time to identify the other items.
We'll get to that eventually. I think this is probably a good choice.
Mhm.
Real quick, if Ceuran can ask Joe about the floating crystal thing that he found.
Sure. If you go up to her, truthfully, if you ask her about it, she doesn't really know much about it.
Okay.
She would basically tell you that there were, uncertain what artifacts were below there. Her grove arrived long after this was already a kind of known place.
Right.
So it's something lost to the time, basically.
Gotcha. Cool. Then I will long rest.
All right. Anything else from anyone else? Or are we all doing some sleepy sleep and then heading out? Okay, cool. All right, go ahead and give yourselves long rests.
Nice.
Make sure to drop your constitution.
Yes, make sure you drop your con from the
moon milk.
moon milk.
I never figured out how to add it, so
Nice. Moon juice. Moon juice. You guys remember moon shoes?
Moon shoes are awesome.
Moon shoes. Moon shoes.
All right.
Gravity defying vibration shoes.
The next morning, you all
Yeah.
ride off with the Cobalt Hunters. Jo kind of watches you all leave as she begins to kind of tend to the grove. She would watch you from afar for a while before she returns to her work. You ride all day. All day. You stop for a few breaks to give the horses water and to let them rest very briefly. You ride into the evening. There is a few points of contention where you're a little nervous as you feel the ground rumble. But there is no approaching Sandlurker right now as you're riding through. When it gets to the evening hours of riding, I do need everyone to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Dawn.
Which is now?
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna guess that I leave all my guys at the camp.
Yeah, I guess so.
Can you?
Yep, I know exactly where your rain's going. Disassemble them and throw their bones in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to just come out and say it. But...
I will 100% allow you to have a bag of bones.
Yes.
Perfect.
They're not gonna go near the other cursed items in there, but
You have
they'll
cursed
their own
items?
little-
Yeah, he's got a few cursed items.
yeah,
Oh.
you know,
We have a
artifacts
few.
of.
It's not
Horrifying
just him.
deities.
Yeah, just for fun.
What was everyone's con save?
6.
12.
Oh, con
Nope,
save?
11.
That was
Mhm.
very loud.
What did you get, Wiswick?
I didn't say.
What did you get, Wiswick?
Got 11.
He got 11. Okay.
Could I roll for my golem?
Golem does not need rest. Or is fine. It doesn't get exhausted.
I got an 11.
Okay. Sarathil?
I got a natural 20.
Nice.
No, it's an unnatural.
And just quick thing that I don't want to put up here too. I'm using my Phantom Seed as a riding
nice.
companion.
Nice.
Don't just have some crap.
What does that
But
look
you
like?
said seed. It's like that.
Yes, my Phantom Seed.
I did too, and I was like, that's gross. What does your Phantom Steed look
Oh.
like?
It's a skeletal horse.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
I would imagine like when I put it together, like you just see shadows from all like directions.
Wait,
Comes one and form
wait.
this horse.
Is it all your friends' bones?
No,
No.
oh, it's a horse.
But you just use
Makes the
their
shape of a
bones for
horse.
No, I won't.
At one point, when he's like, when we break to like rest, Ceuran will like look over at the shadow horse and be like, "So does it have a name?" This is Rocco, for example.
Rocco, you look into Rocco's eyes, and Rocco has seen some shit.
You know, it's the power I draw from is different each time, so I've never even thought to give it a name. It's not to get too attached.
Oh, well, I had a horse kind of like that, more zombie than skeleton. I called it Querna. But that doesn't matter.
Shannon, you have 1 point of exhaustion.
Just me? I got a
You're
12.
the only one who got lower than 10.
No, Ceuran got a 12.
I got a 6.
Well, oh wait, I thought. Oh, sorry. I meant Timber. Sorry, I thought you were the one who had 6.
No.
Shannon, no, I didn't mean Katya. I meant Shannon has a level of exhaustion.
Yeah, I'm already tired.
Yeah, Timber, you have a level of exhaustion. But you ride through the night. Most of you steadfast. You know what it is? It's because Timber's in his wolf form and he's running while the rest of you are on horses, and that's why he's so sleepy.
That's fine. You can sleep on my horse if you want to, Timber.
But around sunrise is when you all can see it now. Especially now that the shifting sands have cleared. Since your retrieval of ash, it's very noticeable. It towers in the distance a couple miles away from you. Its shape is that of... It clearly looks like it walks like a gorilla. It has these long forearms that go down to the ground and these legs in the back. It has this long tail that descends back of rock. It all looks to be made of rock and glass to you. Its back looks like it's just been growing off of itself over and over and over, higher and higher. It has these peaks of stone and what looks like scintillating glass on its back. You can't see its face from here. You could just hear this low rumbling all around you. So you can see one of its arms is just like dug into the earth, and you can see the arm seems to be moving deep into the earth. It kind of reminds you of when Wiswig's golem ever kind of fuses with any earth and moves through it, and it's this is how it drinks essentially. It digs into the earth and pulls up deep waters. It has like some plant life growing all over its back. A lot of the rock on its back doesn't even necessarily look like the scaly skin and hide. It looks like literal rock that is accumulated on its back. You can see a mixture of literal stone, some salt deposits that have grown all over it, some that look like petrified coral in some spaces. It has grown all manner of rock across its body, and it is essentially, if you took like the shape of a gorilla, tossed a bunch of earth elemental all over it, and then had the back just raise up like vast shards of crystal towering into the sky, that's what this creature looks like. It's so vast that it has that like blue overlay of mist over it just from like being too far from your vision, and the air between you and it is obscuring it a little bit. And it just sort of, and you can see now these deep ravines before you where its tail has dragged through the earth. And these vast sort of, you don't notice them when you're just riding past them, but once you have this vista view, you can see the footprints of it that before you just thought were recesses in the earth. And you see the Cobalt Hunters are like, it is good it is still where we found it. We'll be here for a few more days, hopefully. You'll need to find a way on, do your business, and then find a safe way off. We will remain at a distance, but close enough to keep an eye. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you, friends, for tracking.
Okay,
course.
guys. I think I have a plan. If anybody wants to chime in, I'd appreciate it. I have a way to get us either on or off. I can't do both, but I just recently picked up a spell called Teleport that can help us do one of the things, and I worked really hard with Sarathil to prepare a method for removing the scale, but we need to identify a good one that we think we might be able to retrieve, and then we have to deal with whatever else comes along the way. Does anybody else have any ideas?
I might be able to use this decanter. I can use the snow feature and maybe give us some cover, depending on where we go. Also, depending on how high up we get, I can just jump off. I'll be fine.
You know,
Wait, Vizik, can't you get us off too with a different? Didn't you make yourself slow fall one time?
Yeah, we could do it that way if we just want to fall, but I don't know if it's going to be that easy, if there's other creatures, or if it's going to be that sharp of a drop.
Well, this may not be the best way out, but I can always teleport us with this new staff I got. We can simply have the hunters meet us back with our horses at the oasis.
That is true.
It'll just take you a minute, like it would for a teleportation circle.
Right.
As
It'll
long
take
as you
me a
do that.
minute.
At the Oasis or at the Order?
At the oasis. I can only teleport, from what I can tell.
Oh.
I can only go
Right.
back to places holy to my Crescentheart.
Right.
You could also use that decanter in a different method. The Cobalt Hunters said that beneath the scales is some sort of molten interior. That was always going to be a concern when we removed the scale, but maybe if you froze underneath it, it would cause rapid expansion and force it off naturally.
As long as that won't hurt it. Do I have any sense of like if doing that?
You have a sense. You have a sense that it would be minimal, if anything. That if anything, it would probably potentially help it, not form a much larger wound. It as you say that, you can even see like on its back a few times just these huge bursts of steam shoot out and smoke every now and then and sulfur. The air around here smells of brimstone.
If that is the case, I can also use my staff and I can create water to put underneath.
Yeah, because you know that like this thing naturally splits its skin open to molds. Like that wouldn't be that big of a deal for it.
Okay. All right. So we have options.
Okay, great. Well, me and Sarathil are on pulling duty. Katya is gonna just be an all-rounder, I guess. Escape is up to Ceuran, and I guess Timber, you can do the scouting.
He's so
I think
sleepy.
he's a little tired. Yeah, maybe you can.
I don't want to take an energy drink, but I could.
Do you have those?
I take a good you.
A spell that might be able to help you, but once I start pulling, it's not gonna. I'm gonna have to dispel it. So
Wait.
maybe for beforehand.
That still
I
could
don't
help,
have it prepared.
Vizik.
I'm gonna cast Skill Empowerment
Oh,
on
nice.
Timber, and I'm going to give him, I guess, let's say Constitution bonus, so it wakes him up a little bit. Do you think that's how it works? Maybe doubles the proficiency for ability checks.
That's
for
good.
chosen Skill.
Yes.
So
Since he has disadvantage on all of them, that's good.
Maybe Dex. You don't
yeah,
have to climb.
that sounds like a good choice. Well, it says a specific skill, so I'm thinking
Oh, I
that's
see.
probably like acrobatics or perception
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Perception would be good because then he could scout.
Yeah, I think
I
that's.
can also
Oh, but
use
we
one
also
of my
have
new
to-
spells to go into the
No.
liminal space,
The what?
where the space between the planes, where our existence connects to the other planes. I can use it to scout. As long as there are no other creatures within that space, I should be able to freely move in that area without raising any alarm, find a good spot, and then relay that back to you all.
That
How
sounds
long
the
does that
safest.
last?
Cool, so I'll do that.
All right.
How long does that
And-
last?
8 hours, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Until I stop it.
Oh,
Let me-
okay.
Just checking in case it was
Yeah.
like a minute kind of thing.
8 hours.
Cool.
Damn. Jeez.
How are you guys getting on it? I know Wisby
Yeah,
said he had a way,
I have-
but I want to know
I
what
have-
it is.
I'm actually going to use teleport to get everybody on there.
Oh, okay.
Can
That's
you get everybody on there with that?
It's up to 8 people.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
You'll have to roll for it, but I feel like I probably can pull it off because
Since you can see it, it's
visual. Yeah.
Pretty good. Okay. So are you gonna leave your horses with the Cobalt Huntress then?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we'll ask them to bring them back to the grove at a slower rate. Obviously.
Yeah. All right. Wow. Teleport. Nice. My brain was like, they're gonna have to ride up next to it on their horses and be like, how do we get on this? Ah.
Shadow of Colossus.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Just to this whole prepping thing before we throw up 2, I will activate and attune to my Stone of Mastery
Perfect.
that I have.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, I polymorphed too. I could have totally birded this thing.
Yeah, but that's just you getting up there.
I mean, for scouting, but yeah.
All right. So step 1, you're teleporting up there. Step 2,
Yes.
Ceuran is using etherealness to find a patch where there are visible scales.
Yes.
Step 2 is actually Timber casts Path of the Trace.
Nice.
Excellent.
Good.
Step
good.
4, meet up with Ceuran. Step 5, extract scale. Step 6, Ceuran teleports out.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
We got
You
this,
got it.
team. We got it.
All right. First step, Wiswick. Need you to roll me a D100.
Oh god.
Come on, Wiswick. Come on,
I
Wiswick.
don't even know which familiarity you're using.
Going back to the Oasis.
Just end up in nowhere. This is gonna be good. High numbers. I got an 81, which is pretty tight. I don't know if I want.
Do you want high numbers?
I know.
you
Yeah,
do.
I don't know. It depends on what the
I
DM says.
don't remember.
The spell has its own numbers, so it's
Oh, okay.
it's not like a divine intervention where I ask you which you'd prefer.
I see.
So, describe to us what it looks like when you cast teleport.
So it looks like. So I'm holding the arcane core in my hand as my arcane focus, and it's the cracks that you would normally see in my golem shine through my skin, and it like goes down my arm and like down one of my legs, and then it hits the ground below me, and it branches out as if it was like veins in the sand of light that are glowing, and eventually they like branch out into like thousands of different like circles until it makes a full circle of light and envelops us all, and we just appear somewhere else. And you're muted, or I can't hear
Thanks. No, I keep muting myself and forgetting to unmute. All of that happens as you all kind of stay within that circle, and this is how I'll describe it. You all see, like, you're looking out at the Titan. Wiswick, you're concentrating, like almost like aiming on its back. You all see like its back leg just kind of like go like readjust. I imagine its legs look like dinosaur legs in the way that they're like trunks almost. And then it has its two powerful arms, and one of them just does a quick little like, and you see like plumes of smoke or dust shoot up from the earth, and you feel it tremor all the way back to you. As that tremor happens and you feel the shake of the earth, you feel Wiswick's spell take place. And everything goes dark, or not dark, you just see light, and you see various different rainbow lights all around, as for a moment you are completely severed from the material plane and shoot through the ether, and you reappear on the back. You can feel the wind whipping around as you're pretty high up on it. I need everyone to give me acrobatics checks as soon as they land on the back. And you see, it's almost like I was looking at something that was a mile away. I saw all this smoke plume up, and then I am immediately in a spot where you can see the smoke pluming up all around you from where it stopped. You're about on its like hip, like on the more towards the back, but on its hip. But you're like looking down at the ground being shattered beneath it from this vantage point now, just wind whipping all around you. All right. These are skill challenges moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So there's chances for collective success.
Okay.
And things like this.
Like it.
Sarathil, what did you get for your
Acrobatics check?
acrobatics or athletics?
It's not going to matter. I rolled a 10, but I'm going to use one of my knowledge from the past life, because I believe that'll allow me to roll another d6.
It will.
And I add it. So it makes it a 14.
Okay. Timber?
Hope that helps.
I have disadvantage, and that's a 19.
Nice.
Katya,
21.
Huron,
11.
Wiswick.
Nat 1, but I'm burning a luck point.
I figured as much.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Oh, much better.
Dirty 20.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
cool. Yeah, good thing
I
you
will
did.
catch
You would have been the
Kira.
only. You would have been the only one who failed. Could you imagine? It's just like Wiswick just. No, you all like kind of like land and immediately feel the shake of the creatures. Like the creature looks so still in the distance, but it's still a living creature, and its body is going to vibrate and move as you land. And you each kind of like grab onto a rock or something to steady yourselves. But you are now on the back, or the lower back of the glass titan. And from this vantage point, it just feels like you're climbing a mountain that moves. It's a lot of rock all around you. You can see steam shooting up from pores and little cracks in the rock. What's the next step?
Timber, pass without a trace, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
And then Ceuran, you're going to ethereal.
Yep.
Okay. While you're in the ethereal plane, Ceuran, I'll ask you to give me your choice between perception, investigation, or survival.
I'm going to do perception. And I'll do my one advantage for the day. Whistle, that's a 30.
Very nice.
Okay. So this is officially 2 successes in the skill check. The success of getting on, the success of finding a spot where the skin is scaly.
I imagine after Timber does his little snap for the thing, Ceuran goes, well, I guess it's my turn. And he starts walking up, and then he turns around, and he, like, jumps backwards like he's going to jump into the ground, and then just, you see it activates, and he, like, goes into the ethereal plane.
Is it a booty scale?
It's lower back scale, so.
The tramp scale.
You got a tramp scale, yeah. But essentially, what you find is the beginning of these spine spikes that you can see on the battle map. You can see kind of where those rocks are as the spine spikes going up the back. And you're in this lower back. You find a space where you can see scales. You also see there is a space ahead of you where this flesh has split open, and you do see kind of this pool of magmic blood is boiling there. But you have found a good spot. So you can return to the party, and you all can approach with caution.
All right.
Ceuran, would you like to scout for any other things in the area?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know if Ceuran was going to come back to the material plane. I think he would have...
That's fine.
Sending to Kaze.
Cool,
be
cool,
like, oh, it's over this way. And then, I don't know what he's doing. What's he miming? What are you
Well,
miming?
Send to things that are in a different plane than you.
You can
miming that.
actually. It's just a 5%.
I
chance it
forgot
doesn't send.
if you're using, our wristwatches, we're
Oh,
sending
I forgot
bracelets.
about those. Yeah, so I can just use that wristwatch to be like,
Yeah.
That's right.
Alpha
don't remember
1, this
these.
is Alpha 2, over.
So you have walkie-talkies? What the hell?
They found
Have you
some
found the extraction?
wristwatches.
So Ceuran will let him know where it is, and then he's going to go, I'm going to take a look around and make sure there's no enemy hostiles. Roger, roger.
We'll use the same roll just because it was
Okay.
your perception check for the area. You would see creatures that are just kind of like crawling among the rock. You see there's another magma spot about 100 feet away. And you can see very clearly this almost insectoid-like creature with a blue, white, and brownish hide that is like clearly infused with elemental energy because it's like literally drinking the magma. It's like a glass titan mite or flea, one might say.
Yeah.
It looks a little like this guy. Yeah.
Oh.
and he is just kind of crawling around about 100 feet ahead of the spot you are in. And there's like a few others that you see also in this space. There's a lot of them that you see the more you're looking around. They're very split apart, and they're generally just kind of slowly moving across the carapace. They are definitely would be perceptive to your arrival. You would definitely want to come up sneakily.
Yeah, so Ceuran's gonna let Kaze know the location of the spike or the thing, and then the general locations of some of the things to be like, oh, enter from this point.
Yeah, so I lead the group to said location stealthily.
Stealthily.
All right, everyone, give me stealth checks.
Do I get an advantage because rocks?
Plus 10. Oh, thank God.
Probably.
Oh, this is... Sarathil ain't sneaky. Oh, what the hell?
You get plus 10.
I get plus 10?
Everybody gets
all
plus
get-
10
yeah,
because pass without a
That's
trace.
without trace.
Well, I don't, because, well, I guess I do, but in the ethereal plane.
I'm waiting for Sean to say yes before I roll.
That's
You
pretty
can switch to the battle map just so that we have kind of a visual reference. a little
You're
bit.
teching,
Do I
darling.
get advantage, Sean?
Sean, you're streaming, not me.
Shush.
I'm lagging like crazy, so
I forgot.
Very busy man.
All right. It
Busy,
wasn't.
man.
Wasn't elegant, but I think I did it.
busy.
I'm just gonna take the advantage, Sean.
Yep, looks good.
Okay. What was all right? What's everyone's stealth roll?
23.
29.
29.
Okay.
With
21.
Okay. And Ceuran's ethereal. All right. I need anyone who wants to, or someone, not anyone, one person to roll me a D100.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I already rolled 2 of those tonight, so
15.
15.
I don't know if that's good or not. Probably not.
doesn't look good.
All right, I need everyone to. Actually, I'll say what's happening, and then you can tell me what you do in response. It was 25% chance of this, and you just rolled within 1 to 25.
I shouldn't have rolled it.
The creature, essentially, the creature moves in some way that causes environmental reaction to happen. You all feel sudden swaying, as while the earth, like what you're standing on, feels like it's a still mountain. You look back, and you can see, well, now also from this distance, you see the horizon and how vast everything is around, and it all moves all at once. And you all start to get really dizzy and uncomfortable as you can see magma spilling out from the opening, and some of it flies by. So 2 things are happening here. You're losing your hold on the back, and there's some hot magma coming towards you all. What would you all like to do in response? It could very easily just be, I want to do a dexterity saving throw, or I want to do an acrobatics check. But what would each of
Can
you
I
like to do?
cast levitation?
Ceuran, this does not affect you because you're in the ethereal plane. Yes, you can.
I want to, like, kind of use the momentum of this to, like, push off and backflip and then try and, like, regain my footing. So I guess acrobatics.
Okay. Sarathil?
Sean, can you point to me where the high ground is?
I have the high ground.
Is it within 30 feet?
It's just out of range. You'd have to, if you ran up a couple, like 5 feet, you could then be within 30 feet of it. You would just need to do a quick check to make sure you can run that quick 5 feet. If you're trying to, like, teleport or something.
Trying to misty step.
Yeah.
Is there a place
so-
I'm trying to see if I can misty step to get out of the way?
You know what? Yes, you would be able to misty step, like, kind of like what I imagine might potentially be useful is to misty step to one of these spikes and, like, grab on, essentially.
Yeah, then that's fine then.
Okay. Wiswick, what are you doing?
Wiswick was thinking about Misty stepping, but if you'll allow him to cast a spell, because he sees it coming, could I cast Wall of Force to make a sort of wedge to,
Yes.
redirect the magma?
Yeah, absolutely.
Split it like Moses.
Okay.
Very
All right,
nice.
so I'm going to go through everyone one at a time. Ceuran, you're fine because you're ethereal. Timber, I just want you to give me a quick acrobatics check. So this is the thing, is like everyone's DCs are going to be different based on what they're doing. And if there's an additional check I need from you, I'll ask you for it.
Ooh, 12. Oof.
Okay. The good thing is that your reaction was very smart, so your DC was very low. It was 10. It was mainly just to keep your position, because as you levitate off, this thing is moving. So, like, you're in one space, but this thing is moving. So it's just mainly keeping yourself connected with the party, and you don't get kind of, like, weirdly swept off, like 30 feet from them as it moves. Which is always a question about things like time travel, where it's like, if I time travel to this exact spot 10 years ago, the Earth would be in a different spot in the universe. But anyway, go ahead.
I could blink if needed, also.
I'd say with what you rolled, maybe you incorporate a blink here and there, but you're good. You maintain your composure. Sarathil, I need you to give me a quick acrobatics check. Or athletics.
At 20, but -1 to 19.
You're getting all the net 20s tonight.
That's fine. Sarathil, you kind of like,
Yeah.
you're putting your old bones you're making them work tonight. As you just kind of like dash up and then blink up to try to be safe up by this spine. Katya,
Mm-hmm.
if I recall correctly, you're doing some acrobatic shit.
Yep.
To avoid the lava.
To avoid the lava, and also trying to like use the momentum of the movement to like go with the flow and find a new spot.
Okay.
So
Give me an
that
acrobatics
is-
check.
I did. It's a 21.
Okay. Good. Because your DC was higher than the other ones. Because backflipping off of this thing would be like Timber's levitate, but without the levitation part, where
it
the
looks
thing would
cool.
move. It looks cool. It does look cool. The DC was 20, so you just made it. And imagine you kind of like you backflip and adjust yourself, grab onto kind of a spine, slide down it, and just sort of like keep yourself shielded from the lava. Wiswick, I need you to give me a acrobatics or athletics check. Your Wall of Force succeeds in doing what it's supposed to do. It blocks the lava. It's mainly what keeps everyone from getting hit with lava. But you focus your energy on that, and you still are experiencing the dizzying effects. So what was your athletics check?
23.
Nice.
Shit! Fuck yeah. Yeah,
Excellent.
you're able to, I imagine, like, you're almost able to, like brace yourself on one of these spines and find an alcove you're small enough to keep yourself grounded while you manipulate the Wall of Force to stop the lava.
Yeah, I'm channeling my inner Gandalf.
Excellent. Great. You've all succeeded. You are now... everything calms down, and you are in this space now. You all can see, or anyone who wants to can make a perception check at this point.
This isn't my strong suit.
You can
20?
vaguely see... You guys can all, like, vaguely see Ceuran. Like, he looks like just, like, sort of like this wispy Ceuran standing there. Ceuran, what'd you get?
25. And I'm in, for reference, I'm up in the air
Cool.
because I can be.
Ceuran, I'll need you to give me another perception check.
I got a 26.
6, okay. Anyone else?
34.
I got a 23 with disadvantage.
Nice.
I got
Any other?
5.
Wiswick, you're in a rock right now. It's hard to say.
Perception, you said?
Yep.
18.
Okay. Everyone but Wiswick would see there is one of these mites who kind of saw some of the flash of the magic the wall of force and the light of the misty step. It's about 100 feet away, but it's kind of like crawling onto a rock and looking.
Is it coming towards us, or it doesn't see us
Slowly.
yet?
It is coming
Slowly.
towards you.
All
It
right.
doesn't see you. It is coming to investigate the sounds it heard and the lights it saw.
If it gets close enough, I'm gonna watery sphere its ass.
Okay. What is everyone else doing? Is everyone else, because you're in the spot, you can move on to the next step while Katya or maybe someone else is keeping an eye on this creature.
Timber would actually just lowly say, like, I can draw it away if you want me to. And Timber whips out his book of monster stuff, points to the page of extracting scales to Wiswick, and hands it to him, and says, "Read this for how to remove this."
I could have used this last night, but okay, I'll speed read.
No, just this paragraph right here. I already read it. Just it generally it reads like this. And
Isn't throwing it off going to attract more?
no,
Okay.
Just get back quick enough so that we can leave altogether.
How far away is it from me?
It would actually only be 70 feet away from you. I put it on there just as a reference for what it is,
Oh, it's
but
70
it's not.
feet.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's 100 feet. I mean, it's slowly getting closer, though. Like 5 feet at a time.
I mean, I could like banish this thing if we really wanted to, but I want to save my concentration.
What's also the thing to think about is any noise what you do makes is going to potentially attract more.
Yeah.
And they won't have silence.
Pass without a trace.
It's
you
keeping
guys
you
could just
concealed.
hide.
You could just hide.
And wait for it to go away.
It's true.
We're
What
not
I-
in like a huge
Yeah.
rush in this very moment.
I will say,
Oh,
the
that's-
only thing I'll say is the longer you're here, the more environmental things will happen. So if you hide and wait for it to pass, an environmental thing might happen again. Again, that's a D100 roll, so it's not guaranteed. So
I'll-
Go
I'll keep an eye on it, and if it gets too close, I'll
Okay.
encase it in a sphere. So work quickly here, and I give Wiswick the decanter of Endless Frost.
I don't think I could use this. I'm not attuned.
Oh crap! Forgot it was attuned.
Also,
Okay.
yeah, I have other plans. So,
Is it attuned? No, it's not. It's not attunement.
Yeah, you just have to use the command words.
You just have to. Yeah.
oh, okay. So, using the help of my friends and hopefully Sarathil's magical strength, I'm going to use the knowledge from the book to find the optimal spot to. Maybe I asked Sarathil to lift it up first using the telekinesis. Because I mean, I don't know how you want to play this, Sean. Because if it's against a creature,
You just tell me what you're doing, and I will let you know what checks you might have to make.
Okay, so the plan is, I read in the book that it says you want to open it up partially at a time. Like you lift it a little bit, and then you cut the inside, and then you lift it a little bit further, and you cut the inside.
pretty
and you
accurate.
slowly, incrementally, get it. So, Sarathil's doing the initial cut. The initial lift, so I could release the gooey center, and I'm gonna freeze it with the decanter before I help him pull further.
Okay. So we've got 3 steps here. Initial lift, freezing, and then completion lift. You're using telekinesis for the lifts, right?
Yes, it's a 1,000-pound force if it's against an object. If you wanted it to be a contested roll against a creature, it would be a strength saving throw.
That battle's a spell casting ability.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what it
Okay.
says.
I'm going to say it's going to count as an object because this thing is so big that it's not going to be able to, like, minutely react to this here. While they start to do this, prep this, what are the rest of you doing? Katya, I know you're watching the Onkeg. I meant to say Mike. Timber, what are you doing?
Timber's instructing Wiswick and also kind of, I guess, just prioritizing.
Wait, just to clarify, Sean. Sorry, with an object too, it's if it's worn or carried by something, it's a strength check to spellcasting ability. I don't know if that affects anything.
You know what? We should probably do that because I was gonna make you do kind of roll anyway, so we might as well just do the roll that's built into the spell. Because you said that is it a saving throw normally?
It says for an object, you can try to move an object that weighs up to 1,000 pounds. If the object is being worn or carried, you'd automatically move it to 30 feet in any direction. If the object is worn or carried by a creature, you must make an ability check with your spellcasting ability contested by the creature's strength check. I know it's a little different because this guy's fucking gargantuan.
Yeah, I'll do it where you'll do the ability check. We're basically gonna do what I was gonna do anyway. Just it was gonna be a different skill, but we'll play it that way where the DC is going to be the strength check of the creature. It's gonna be higher for you, Sarathil, because you're doing it alone at first, and then it's gonna be lower when the two of you are doing it to get the whole thing off. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then Wiswick, I'm gonna have you make a check to get the decanter of frost at the right time to freeze it and to and then help Sarathil pull it off. So Wiswick, what skill do you think you want to use for that? What skill do you think would be the best for that?
Arcana.
Okay, I'll allow that.
I'll also take nature. I mean, it's both plus 15.
Either or would be fine in this situation. It actually does matter though, despite the same thing, because it determines what type of DC it is, because it's what's happening in the situation.
I'd say Arcana is
So,
probably the
Arcana is you focusing more on using the magic item properly, while Nature is you focusing on knowing the creature's anatomy better to know when to properly use the item.
I think because of Timber's help and the fact that I don't want to harm the creature as much, I'll probably do nature for
Cool.
the decanter and Arcana for the lift.
Great. Well, the lift is just going to be your spell check, your spell.
Okay, then nature it is.
Cool. And Ceuran, I know you're ethereal right now, but what are you doing during this time?
Just can I cast a little guidance on them?
You absolutely can.
Cool.
Uh,
So I read through etherealness and it doesn't say anything about casting spells. Though I am technically on a different plane of existence.
What I was more concerned about was concentration. Is etherealness
I
concentration?
don't think etherealness is concentration.
All right. As long as etherealness isn't concentration, then you're good to go with
No,
spells.
it's not.
Because the idea for me is that you're in the liminal space, which means you have 1 foot in the material plane and 1 foot out.
Right.
So you're able to still cast spells. Particularly because etherealness as a spell doesn't say anything about you not being able to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was my thought. So I'm gonna cast guidance first on Wiswick when he makes this nature check, or whoever is.
Actually, I'm going to ask you to give me an Arcana check for this.
Okay.
Because technically, while on the ethereal plane, you can only affect and be affected by other creatures on that plane. So technically,
Right.
the spells, in rules as written, the spells wouldn't work. But my view is, my world is different. So I'm going to ask for an Arcana check to
15.
send the spell back. Okay. So you got a 15 on your Arcana. Who are you giving guidance to?
Just gonna start. Whoever is giving the first check. Basically.
That would be Sarathil. Okay.
So we'll start with Sarathil.
Okay, so you successfully are able to give Sarathil guidance with that 15 Arcana check. Sarathil, you have guidance, which you can use on your skill check to use telekinesis to begin the lift. That is going to be your spell ability check. You can add a D4 to it. Katya, I'd like you to give me a perception check to watch the mite.
You got it. That's a 27.
Okay. Sarathil, what did you get on your check?
What do I roll for my check? Just
It's an intelligence check, and then you get to add 1d4.
on intelligence check, 1d4. So it's a 23 plus 1, so 24.
Okay. You're able to lift this scale up, and Wiswick, you can see like the membrane on the exterior begins to stretch as you can see the telekinesis lifting it. Sarathil, what does your telekinesis look like, by the way?
What does my telekinesis look like?
Yeah, is there anything special about it? Doesn't have to be. I'm just asking.
I'm gonna say no for right now, just because this is just new to me, and it's gonna probably just look a little awkward more than anything else.
Yeah, like the scale is just
like the scale's probably just like rumbling a bit, and it's kind of like shaking as it's like it's wobbling a bit as it's kind of levitating further up from there.
okay.
And it's mostly just me straining to kind of do this since it's so heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. It does succeed. Wiswick, give me a nature check.
Okay. Here we go. 17 plus 15 is a 32.
Okay. When you said 17, I was like, oh no. And then you said plus 15, and I was like, oh, fuck. All right, so Wiswick, as you lift it up, you can see it's like as the membrane starts to break, you can see the light behind it as this bubbling magma starts to come out. And you wait until the exact right moment when the membrane fully breaks, because you don't want to freeze the membrane, and apply the decanter of Endless Frost, which then begins to slowly seal the hot magma, but also, like you said, it's releasing a lot of steam. So Wiswick, I'm going to need you to give me a Constitution saving throw. But Sarathil, you immediately feel the scale is having an easier time of coming off now, because the steam coming off is pushing it with your telekinesis.
Cool.
Boom. I think I'll take the 14 and not burn a luck point here.
Okay.
Hopefully that won't bite me in the butt.
Take 30 points of fire damage.
Halved, because I have resistance.
Excellent.
As
As just this billow of steam shoots out against you and just makes your eyes water, and your skin is a little red once it stops as the ice takes hold.
Can somebody tell me if the decanter is concentration?
It's not.
Okay, great.
You can now use telekinesis to lift the scale completely. Scarlet.
I'm sorry, who? She would be very, very helpful in this situation, though.
Shannon, you see the Ankeg is getting closer after it sees the billowing steam come out.
Okay.
It hasn't seen any of you specifically.
All right.
But it is heading directly towards the group now.
Okay. I'm waiting until like the very last second.
Okay.
Might have heard gnome screams too.
Yeah, I may have heard a little. Okay. Sarathil and Wiswick, give me intelligence checks now. The combined total will need to beat the DC.
Before they do that, I'll just like kind of loudly whisper to the group, "It's getting closer. We might want to speed it up a little bit."
This is what I'm waiting for.
Right here.
The contested int check between wizards.
You bastard. But this is all luck, though. Here we go.
I'm rerolling.
He has luck points, yeah.
Ooh, 24.
Well, I'm using a luck point.
Yeah.
I got a 22. I'm using
Yes!
another luck point. I'm using another luck point. 25.
Oh my god!
Did you get a nat
You're
20?
so petty! Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Good lord. I guess Sarathil is not that lucky.
Huron, would you like to start casting
Until you get the luck.
the teleport?
Do we have it? The scale?
Yes, you can see the scale does start to come off.
Okay, then yeah, he will land right, kind of in the middle of where everyone is, and start to ready the teleportation spell.
Okay. You see small, like translucent Telwood Hama start to grow in a circle around you, large enough to fit everyone. It's going to take you a minute to cast it. Timber, are you still levitating? Okay. Timber, you see the Ankeg is rushing towards everyone. Tia.
Tia.
The creature is about to. It's not like charging. It's like skittering here and there to come investigate.
All right.
Do you
How
want
far away?
to? Right now, it's about 45 feet away. You actually probably see it looking up in the air now at Timber floating there and kind of like
Okay.
cocking its head and like.
All right. Let me see. Okay. I want to. It won't let me look at watery sphere. I just don't know
Timber,
what the
roll me a
range is.
D100.
Sure.
90 feet. All right. Yeah, I'll do it and like throw it. You know, like throw the sphere away.
Okay. Give me a wisdom check.
A wisdom
40.
check.
Ooh.
Jeez, 40. Oh, you. It's
On a D100.
D100.
On a D100.
Okay, yeah, I was like, Jesus.
I was like, how'd you pull that one off?
Okay. There is not an environmental effect. Right now.
No. Can I borrow somebody's luck point?
It's
I
not a
used
thing.
them all.
Clayton was too petty and had to waste it.
What'd you get? 4? Okay.
Natural one for the 4.
All right. So as you're trying, you do. I'll say you do catch it in this water, and you're trying to manipulate it at this point. But unfortunately, like kind of like you're trying to throw it and manipulate this while on the back of a creature that's moving. So you lose focus for a moment, and like you see the watery sphere even goes like this, and then it just like bashes into one of the spines, and the creature just kind of like clasps onto it and collapses. It does get hit with some damage. But it is completely 100% aware of where you are now.
All right, I fucked it up. Let's go.
I'm rolling to see how much damage it got. Okay. And you do hear it kind of like screech out.
Shit. I really fucked it up. Let's go.
Okay. At that point, you do fully lift the scale off. It's the size of 2 Wiswicks, I'll say.
A unit of measurement now.
A unit of measurement. It's 2 Wiswicks wide, 1.5 Wiswicks tall. So I'll say
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did Ceuran just start the?
I'd say it's about a third through.
Okay.
This. Is there anything? This is what I guess I'll say. Is I'm not preparing us to go into a full initiative. I just want to know what you're going to do to keep these things off of you in this moment,
I'll
or
jump.
hold them at
Oh,
bay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Timber was going to. Give me a signal right before you're done. Blink a little bit southward to where they are and start howling.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a whatever check you think would fit this. Deception or it could be something else. It could be
deception.
survival.
I'll go with survival. Sure.
Okay. Cool.
Like that.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
What'd you get?
Well, I have to roll with disadvantage because I'm exhausted.
Okay.
And because of that, I got a fucking 1.
No.
So it's a 9.
God damn it.
What is everyone else doing? You do see.
Oh wait, you're petty.
This does happen. Like you see Timber, and you see he blinks somewhere else, and you hear the howl. It's just a matter of how many of them realistically is what it actually is. Like how many of them he pulls aside. What are the rest of you doing?
Throwing darts at them.
Can I cast Wall of Force again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
do that
do
first.
that, and I make
Oh, Well,
wall
there you
of
go.
death around us.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like expecting to happen.
So all of the weight from the that I was lifting up with the thing just like goes all on Sarathil. Like he just immediately feels like extra. He has
Yeah,
to put in
what I
more
imagine
effort to
happens
keep
is
it
you
up.
and him were on your way to bringing it over to this teleportation circle, and it just like half of it just like onto the ground for a moment, and then Sarathil has to like, oh fuck. It's like someone dropped their half of the couch in the move. Timber, I'll say you see this wall of force go up, and you can easily start heading back to join up with them.
I'll just be like, oh. And then just blink right back in.
And it's just like for a moment you're like, I was going to sacrifice myself, and then Wiswick. Now you're easily able with levitate, with blink, you can get back, you get behind the wall of force, and Wiswick, you kind of imagine you form this so that it kind of domes over a little bit, and you all see like these creatures start skittering throughout. You have a good shield around you. They're trying to climb up the shield, some of them. I imagine you can toss some things through it. You can, whatever. Maybe you shoot a spell over it or something. You lob a dart over the top of it. But I'd say that it is enough for you to be able to get the teleport off.
Thank God. Good job, everybody.
Thanks.
Very different from the teleport that Wiswick did. You are not pulled through the ether. You are almost like you're pulled through the Telwood Humma themselves. Very weird feeling of feeling squished and condensed, like you're being pushed through, like you're being spaghettified through a small straw. And then you all suddenly appear with a flash of light, and you are now in like what is clearly a Telwood Humma circle that is now formed in the grove. And it is the daytime, and you're looking around. You see the carts have already left. And what you see is oh no, because he would have gone with them. You would have told them to bring Ashk with them in the carts, or
Yes.
did you want? Okay, cool. All right, then never mind. I was gonna have Ashk comically gardening with Joe. You just see Joe tending to like the new growth all around here, and tending to like an even more animals that seem to flock to this space now as this safe haven amongst this desolate waste. And Ceuran, you'd be able to see off in a distance that some of this grass is growing beyond the sentinel stones. And then much like how the grove you created in the Ghost of Ruination is healing that, this is also healing the wastes land here. What would y'all like to do?
Yeah, quick! Throw some water on this thing. I don't want it to set the whole place on fire.
It is incredibly hot, this thing.
Put it in the oasis. Put it in the oasis.
I used all my charges on my spear.
I imagine it's like, yeah, Sarathil, you're the one actually holding it. What do you want to do with it?
I will put it all over the oasis and as slow as I can, like put it in without like dropping it and splashing everything.
Yeah,
I joke when Ceuran says it, I mage hand help him, and stare at stare at Ceuran.
Sarathil feels 5 whole pounds be relieved from this 1,000 pound thing.
Yeah, I imagine Sarathil's like, oh, my bad. But you have acquired a full scale from the Glass Titan.
Good job, everybody.
Why are we doing this again?
Yeah, you didn't.
Money.
Actually, this one's not for money. This one's for unlimited access to a apothecary and their resources. It's
And
better than
cell
money,
phone.
actually.
Yes. Yeah.
The other thing you could have gotten was for money. But what would you all like to do? Is there anything you'd like to do at the Oasis, or are you just going to head back to the monastery?
I'm gonna take a short rest, get my spell slot back, and then teleport everybody else back to the monastery.
We're
Oh,
waiting
nice.
for our horses.
Oh shit.
Oh, well then I guess we're waiting for our horses.
you can spend a day here essentially until your horses get there, just sort of resting, relaxing,
And then we can
taking
tell
a small break because it's been a consistent few weeks of stress.
Right.
Knowing you have a new power with you, with Ceuran's empowered staff, all of you are higher level also. And you spend a day where Zhou lavishes you with food and love and jokes and a good time. Is there anything you would all like to say to Zhou or do anything in this before you teleport back? Because I'll say we'll kind of jump ahead to when the horses come after whatever anyone wants to do here.
Identify all the objects that I achieved in the thing. Learn some spells or start learning some spells. And Ashk isn't there, so I guess
No.
I'll
No.
just those two things are enough for me.
Okay. Spell. Just to give you real quick, because you don't need to. The scroll is for Crown of Stars. Is the spell.
Nice.
All right. It's the one thing I closed was the other item. That's okay. We can. Oh, it's figurine of wondrous power. You have two of them. You have the onyx dog one, and you have the serpentine owl one.
I kind of figured those were what those were, but I didn't want to make assumptions.
And do you want to identify Ceuran's stone, or Ceuran, do you want him to identify your stone?
Yeah, if he's
I
gonna
would
be
have definitely
identified,
asked. Yeah.
Ceuran would show him not the gemstone. I don't care about that. The crystal that was floating around.
Mm-hmm.
The magical one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next session, I'll ask for an Arcana check just so I can describe maybe its origination to you. But for now, for what the actual item is, it is an Ioun stone.
I wanted one of those.
It's an Ioun stone of fortitude.
Ooh, that's what I have. Not fortitude, but mastery.
Yeah. This is whoever attunes to it, your Constitution score increases by 2.
Oh, very cool.
That's good for Ceuran.
It's very good for Ceuran.
Give it to me. Give me all the stones.
In this world, they're called something else. They're called Aphromenos stones. But that's for you to find out potentially next week. But I believe that's all of the items. You can go ahead. I'll say you have 24 hours you can devote to spells if there are things you want to do with that.
Also,
can you identify these arrows for me?
That too.
The arrows I will do next session.
Got it.
Because those were improv'd a little bit. I do know what they do, but I need to make an actual item for it. Okay, we'll do the arrows next week. Let me write that down. All right, what else would you all like to do in these last 24 hours at the Oasis? Timber.
I would like to kind of just study the scale a little bit more because it's a big chunk.
Mm-hmm.
And how I can use it for alchemical purposes.
Yeah,
'Cause
give me
what I've been told is that it could be used for a lot of agents.
Yeah, give me a nature check.
Nature. Eight.
Tough to tell out here in the rugged wastes. You'll probably be able to do a lot more thorough research when you get back either to Veramalcia or even the monastery.
Okay.
Anyone else? Is there any last things you want to do here?
Ceuran will spend time with Zhou, just talking. But I mean, no need to role play it unless you want to just, have two old people talking it out.
It is a lot of two old people talking it out, and I'll say the only thing I'll roleplay is you have a very nice, pleasant conversation with her about Ilyuvania, and she starts to call them Ilyuvania now because of kind of what she's seen. And the last thing she'll ask you, though, is, I have waited, and what I waited for has come. What should I do now?
What would you like to do?
I don't know.
You've been through quite a lot, Joe. I think it's time you look inward and do something for yourself. The gods will always take what they can from us. And at a certain point, we must say, no more. It's my time to rest. I think it's your time now.
It's kind of scary.
I know, right? I can't even imagine life after my quest is complete. The direction it gives, the certainty. But I know you'll do the right thing with your time.
How exciting, as such. Good luck to
See
you.
the word. Spread the good word. And I'll see you soon enough, friend.
And she has a big smile. Her eyes are a little watery. She's thinking about the possibilities. And so you end your time in the Oasis, this place you spent so long seeking out.
Yeah.
Wiswick does the spell. And you and all your horses, I'll say, as well, arrive in the flower beds of the firmaments. Now, next session, we'll have time for any goodbyes you want to make to anyone else here, or any questions. But for now, since Shannon won't be here, this is goodbye for Katya. Is there anything anyone would like to say to her? Or Katya, anything you'd like to say to them?
I'd say Ceuran, we arrived there and there's the general blah 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 whatever, and then Ceuran takes out a sack of gold and walks over and holds it out to her and goes, "Well, Cobalt Huntress, you've upheld your end of the deal, and here's ours. I believe this is the fee we agreed to, with an added bonus for everything you've done for us."
You are very kind. Thank you, Ceuran. And thank you for the kindness and respect that you have shown my order. I very much appreciate it.
Of course. The Cobalt Hunters are fine people. Your order does good work here. It's a shame I had never heard of you all before.
Well, maybe
Maybe-
you can spread that word as well as the one of your goddess.
I would be happy to let the people know that there are good, kind souls in the south, protecting all the towns and all the little people.
And if you ever find your way back to Nephrodala, I will probably be there, hopefully with a new job.
And maybe with a little, and at this he kind of taps her on the shoulder, self-restraint.
Maybe a little.
That's all we ask.
Thank you. Good luck.
And the same to you, friend. Also, that was 1,000 gold pieces you just received.
Thank
Put it on
you.
the character sheet if you ever end up playing her again for one reason or another.
She better come help us when Ceuran calls upon all his allies.
Absolutely.
For the epic ensemble scene.
Absolutely.
And she better have a lot of items with all that gold that she has.
Oh yeah,
she doesn't put it through the order. She's just covered in jewels and fancy armor.
The new Cobalt Huntress.
Wiswick walks up to her and
I get down on his level.
he returns the decanter of the water, the ice decanter.
Endless frost. Are you sure you won't need this where you're going? It could be helpful. I don't need it. I never had it before. I don't think I'll need it. You can keep it if you want.
Wiswick leans in and whispers to her.
I've been hoarding magic items from these people forever. I don't even know if I have enough space in my bag for this.
All right, fair enough. I'll keep it safe for you then, when you have some more space.
Yeah, keep it to remember me by. And tell those little frog people to what's called have a like toast on me. I've got a bottle. I still got that bottle that I'm looking forward to. I'll be drinking it and remembering you all.
Absolutely. I will do that. And I could never forget you, Wiswick.
Well, I mean, who could? I'm pretty great, you know.
All right. I was giving you a compliment. Just say thank you.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. If you ever want to come hang out with us, just let me know, and perhaps I can teleport you in. I've gotten pretty good at this.
Stay safe, my friend.
Enjoy. Happy hunting.
Timber walks over, flask in hand, slaps it on her chest. Take one
Whoa!
last sip. Hey, it's mine now. You gave it to me, remember?
No.
What is this?
I heard you. You said you have too many magic items anyway,
I
right?
was whispering.
You forget that I have advantage on my hearing.
So do I.
Yeah.
What's this
Keep
for?
your loyalties for your monastery.
For the monastery.
The Cobalt. Yes.
Hunters. Are you sure you won't need it?
Oh, no, I'm taking the flask back. Don't worry. I just was giving you a drink.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving me the
I
flask.
thought we were paying for our drinks, so I was
Yeah.
like, oh god, we're gonna be poor real fast.
all right. I thought
No.
that makes more sense. All right. Yes, absolutely. I take a swig. Thank you.
You know
It
I
is-
can't give this to you because
I was not.
you have a
expecting
drinking
it.
problem and
I-
I have a drinking
Thank-
problem. But
Yes, I know. We support each other in this drinking problem. I like to think I've gotten better. Somewhat.
maybe.
In the last week, at least. I've
Maybe.
had these 2 swigs that you gave me. But thank you. And like I said to everyone else, be careful. Stay safe. And all the creatures that you come upon, respect them.
Michelle, you do good work here.
They try. I'll look at Sarathil and just be like, hey.
I'll just kind of give her a little nod.
I know we didn't get to meet for very long, but it's impressive what you can do.
Will always thank you for finding your way into that crypt and relieving me of my slumber.
These people are special.
I could
Protect
see.
them. Okay, bye.
With that, Katya sort of takes steps back, one last look at you all, and then runs off to go find Farthio.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was gonna do.
And we will return next episode to your goodbye to the Leviathrok Order. Anything last things you want to do? Speak to
That's their name. I forgot their name for a second.
the Ardent Eye or the Ardent Huntress or anyone else other than Katya. I guess I can play Katya in this last. Any last things you want to
No, I can play Katya. I'm still here.
And then we will move on back to Veramosia and what lays beyond. Thank you, everyone,
Yes.
for joining us tonight. I forgot all my stuff, where my stuff is, because I rearranged everything to host the stream.
You want me to do it?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, give me a second. I have to pull it up now too because I closed it after I did my thing.
So while Shannon's looking that up, though, I'll let you all know we are going to raid our friend over to Joshua Simon's channel. He is doing some mini painting, I believe. So go give him our love after Shannon reads us a few things about upcoming programming.
Upcoming programming. So we've got Advantage in Paradise, obviously, on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Relaxing in Paradise on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, where Sean will be painting minis, drawing maps, playing Sea of Thieves, all that fun stuff. It's a great way to end your Thursday. So go check that out. Are you still doing the Power Hour on Sunday? Are you going to do it with somebody else, or are we just going to take a break? Because I will not be here.
Oh, we'll probably I'll determine that during the week.
Okay, so watch socials for if the Power Hour is going to take place. But I'm still talking like Katya. I unfortunately will not be there for the Power Hour or for next week's episode, but come and see these awesome people and see what kind of shenanigans they get up to. I can't wait to watch the VOD and hear all about it. Lost my spot. Okay, monthly on Saturdays, our One Shots in Paradise with our lovely Stefan are on hiatus, but they are soon to return. We've got some really cool plans in the works for that. And the season 3 of The Scales Above, where Sean and I play, Sloan and Auric, has started. We started last Friday. Again, I will not be there this week, but go support Sean and see and the rest of the cast and see what kind of shenanigans they get up to over there. And then it will be at Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's it.
Good job, Shannon.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody. Say goodbye, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you for joining us in Paradise and supporting the stream.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
I